What's up, dummies? We're about to react to people who recorded their last moments. Look at this thumbnail, bro. It shows an innocent looking video of a guy and another guy in a car, but apparently this was their last moment. This is gonna be a really creepy video. Try not to get scared. Let's go.
Tevye Pustiu was a 29-year-old pop singer in Romania.
Okay.
He was described as one of Romania's rising music stars and was building a bigger following with each passing year.
Okay.
Unfortunately, before he had the chance to make it big, his career was abruptly cut short on August 15, 2020.
Why?
He was riding through the city of Ploiești in a car with his wife behind the wheel.
Oh, okay, this is the thumbnail.
And as they were making their way through the city, Tevye decided to live stream his travel from his phone. This stream was just him smoking, listening to music, smiling, and having plain fun. But then...
Don't tell me he's gonna record a whole car crash, bro. No.
A few minutes into the stream, his wife stopped the car at a crossing of sorts. She looked both ways before driving forward, only for the stream to suddenly cut off, with Tevye screaming in horror being the last thing viewers witnessed.
No way. He's happy, he's listening to music.
As it turned out, the two were crossing a railway line. And while his wife did look both ways, she somehow missed the train barreling towards them. By the time they noticed, it was already too late.
No.
Their car was wrecked completely, resulting in Tevye tragically losing his life. What's crazy is that just a month before this crash, Tevye made a Facebook post stating, "One day, the wrong train will take you to the right destination." His wife miraculously survived, but sustained several critical injuries. She was rushed to the hospital and put on life support.
How did she not notice the train, bro?
Oh, I wasn't able to find any reports on what happened to her after that. The now tragic final memory Tevye left to his fans was him simply having fun and dancing to music.
Look at this, bro. He starts screaming, "Ah!" Oh my God, that's crazy. They recorded their final moments.
23-year-old Helen Wendy Nyabuto moved from Kenya to Canada on a 10-year study visa when she was just 20 years old. By 2022, she was close to completing her education while also working as a nurse and a personal support worker in the Toronto area.
Okay.
Things were going well for Helen, but things took a tragic turn in August of 2022 when a single accident wiped out everything she had worked so hard to build. She was hired as a personal support worker by someone living in the small town of Chatsworth, Ontario. She decided to rent a room in the only motel in Chatsworth to accommodate this job and started living there. The place wasn't too shabby, but the thing that caught Helen's eye was the motel's outdoor swimming pool. So on August 8, she found enough free time to go for a swim while also live streaming her experience on Facebook.
Oh no, dude, don't tell me like she's live streaming and like it electrocutes the pool or something. She looks so happy, bro. She's swimming.
She had the pool all to herself, and it was every bit as peaceful and relaxing as she'd hoped. However, just as she was starting to enjoy swimming, disaster struck. About 10 minutes after getting into the pool, she decided to swim toward the deep end. Unfortunately, just seconds after entering the deep end, she lost control and began drowning. She desperately called for help with the little air she had left. Tragically, there was no one to hear her. After struggling in the water for nearly a minute, Helen lost the fight and passed away just outside the range of her phone's camera, which continued streaming everything live on Facebook. Her last words stating, "Let me enjoy some water," took on a much darker meaning as her live viewers waited for someone to notice Helen. However, she remained unnoticed for nearly 3 hours until two other guests finally arrived at the pool and made the heartbreaking discovery while the live stream was still going. But these guests couldn't even believe what they were looking at first.
Why is there just a dead person in the line?
I know, that scared the when I got in. I think it's a poodle or something.
That looks so realistic.
I know. I got in and I was like, is it somebody? Walk over there. Just walk over there.
Dead? Like, what if it's actually somebody dead? Because I'm not even trolling. That looks way too real.
Oh my God, bro. This is actually one of the craziest ones that I've ever seen. This girl was just swimming, having so much fun, and she's live streaming. And then people stumble across it and they're like, oh, why is there just a fake body? It's real.
They eventually realized the truth and immediately contacted the motel management. By the time someone checked on Helen, she was long gone. The live stream helped prove that this was nothing more than a terrible accident. though
my
that did little to
God.
soften the blow for her family.
Bro, she's live streaming on Facebook, which all of her family is on Facebook. They're all watching this. Like somebody's saying, oh, so painful. Like, bro, they're all watching this and know that she died.
As her father stated, I watched the video, I cried. It's terrible. What
Oh.
made the tragedy even more devastating was that Helen was the sole breadwinner for her family. Without her, they couldn't even afford to bring her body home to Kenya.
Nuh-uh.
Fortunately, when the story made headlines, the internet came together and raised over 66,000 Canadian dollars
Oh,
to
that's
cover her
awesome.
funeral expenses and help her family in their time of need, giving a somewhat bright ending
Wow.
amongst an absolutely tragic situation.
Bro, so she didn't know there was a deep end in the pool. So she was staying in the easy end, just, walking. And then she started swimming and then she went into the deep end. Oh my God. I can't believe those people were like, wait, what if that's real? Like they stumbled across. Oh my God.
Ivan Lester McGuire was a 35-year-old skydiving expert who lived in the small town of Franklinton, North Carolina.
Oh, bro, don't tell me this guy's going to be skydiving and then he just, I went skydiving.
He worked
It
as a
was cool.
skydiving cameraman at the now defunct Franklin County Sports Parachute Center, where his job was to capture photos and videos of clients who wanted their skydive jumps recorded.
Okay.
He'd been doing this every day for years, and April 2nd, 1988 was no different. Unfortunately, what began as just another routine workday would end in a sudden, irreversible tragedy.
Oh my God, bro. Don't tell me he died from skydiving. This is so creepy because I literally did skydiving before. I didn't even know it was possible to die.
The day began smoothly, with Ivan successfully completing 2 dives by late afternoon. But it was an unusually busy Saturday, and before the sun could set, he was called in for a 3rd jump. He was already exhausted by this point, but didn't want fatigue to get in the way of his job, so he agreed to the dive. The plane took off from the runway located right next to the sports center, and within just 15 minutes, it was soaring 10,500 feet in the air. After reaching this desired altitude, Ivan jumped first, making sure to keep his helmet-mounted camera pointed towards the client and their accompanying skydiving.
Oh my God, I just remembered that this is a video about people who recorded their last moments. Don't tell me he recorded it.
Instructor. What you're looking at right now is a part of the footage that he captured. A few seconds after the jump, the other instructor opened his parachute, which was Ivan's cue to open his own. But when he reached for his ripcord, it wasn't there. Panic set in as he frantically disregarded getting a good shot and searched his body for the ripcord, hoping it was just stuck somewhere. And that's when he made the horrifying discovery. He wasn't wearing a parachute at all.
No! No! He wasn't even wearing...
The other instructor had already opened his parachute, he couldn't help Ivan in any way either. After realizing his situation, the only words that came out of Ivan's mouth were, "Oh my God, no." The footage then became blurry as Ivan sped up to 150 miles per hour, or over 240 kilometers per hour. He crash-landed in a wooded area near the runway and likely passed away the instant he hit the ground. When
Oh
rescue
my
workers found his
God.
body, his camera equipment and the VHS tape he was recording on were broken into multiple pieces. Fortunately, investigators were able to splice together enough working sections to get a good picture of what happened before he jumped. They were able to rule out both foul play and the possibility that Ivan had intentionally chosen not to wear a parachute. But if that's the case, how could a seasoned expert with over 800 successful skydives under his belt simply forget to put on his parachute?
See, that's the thing. Whenever you do something so much, it's possible that you kind of forget. Like some things become, like whenever I record YouTube videos, sometimes I forget to even click the record button, even though I've recorded like 5,000. Some simple things mess you up
Unfortunately,
sometimes.
none of the evidence the investigators were able to gather answered this question.
Damn, he looks like a cool guy. Like it looks like he has like grandkids and stuff. He seems like a happy, cool grandpa. Who wouldn't want their grandpa to be somebody who jumps out of planes? All right,
On the
here's
15th
the next
of January 2023, Yeti Airlines Flight 691 took off from Kathmandu's Triphuvan International Airport at around 10:30 a.m. It was a domestic flight headed for the Pokhara International Airport, located roughly 124 miles or 200 kilometers west of the takeoff location. Things started off just as everyone hoped, with the plane taking off, climbing, cruising, and even descending without any issues. And as it was about to land at the Pokhara airport, one of the passengers started live streaming on Facebook from within the cabin. This passenger was a 25-year-old Indian man named Sanu Jaiswal. He was an adventurous young man who loved nothing more than exploring new places with his
What's
friends
gonna
and
happen
experiencing
here?
their beauty firsthand. This time he had traveled to Nepal as a tourist with 3 of his close friends. And after enjoying Kathmandu to its
Damn.
fullest, the 4 of them were
People
headed
live
to
there?
Pokhara to experience paragliding. He was excited for the upcoming adventure and wanted to share this moment with his entire social circle, which is why he started streaming. What none of his viewers knew, however, was that this was going to be the last time they would see Sanu alive. Because just a minute after he started streaming, the situation took a terrifying turn as the camera became disoriented and the laughter turned to screaming. What followed was an extremely loud explosion. Somehow the phone stayed intact and continued streaming everything to Sanu's friends and family. But all they could see at this point was nothing short of horrific, with the entire camera feed getting covered in raging flames, and worst of all, the screaming suddenly coming to a halt. Something had gone horribly wrong.
No, bro, this dude was live streaming, and then the plane like exploded. You could just see flames everywhere.
It wasn't long before people found out exactly what. Flight 691 had somehow crashed into the riverbank a few hundred meters away from the airport. The crash also caused the remaining fuel to ignite. So by the time the rescue workers arrived on the scene, there was nothing left. The crash and the resulting fire had taken the lives of the 4 crew members and the 68 passengers. Sanu was among these casualties, as he unknowingly recorded his own final moments with no idea of the tragedy that was about to unfold.
What?
The only silver lining in this accident was that the plane barely missed the populated area right next to the river, which would have likely doubled, if not tripled, the losses.
Yeah, like whenever planes crash, sometimes they'll crash into buildings and it's like horrible, but at least it landed in the woods. It probably killed a bunch of animals. But dude, oh my god, he was live streaming saying like, I'm here guys, and then...
As for how things went so horribly wrong when the rest of the flight had been relatively smooth, a months-long investigation concluded that it was mostly due to human error. You see, the flight was originally supposed to land on runway 30, but for some unknown reason the pilot requested to land on the indirect runway 12. Now, the co-pilot, Anju Kariwada, was under training at the time, so it's possible the pilot requested the alternative route to teach her how to land at an awkward angle. Unfortunately, while the plane was turning, she misinterpreted a command and accidentally switched both engine propellers to the feathered position. This resulted in the engine stalling, the plane losing control, turning over, and crashing into the riverbank. Put simply, a single unfortunate mistake cost the lives of dozens of people and uprooted the lives of hundreds of family members.
Bruh. Damn, and he didn't even know he was live streaming.
On June 16, 2013, 29-year-old Yevgeny Titov noticed a demolition happening near his work in Lipetsk, Russia. He was on his lunch break and had plenty of time to admire the work being done.
Okay, this guy's trying to watch this building be collapsed, but why are you so close, bro? If this building collapses, you know how much smoke and stuff is gonna...
So he took out his phone and started recording the demolition.
Why are you recording,
Unfortunately, watching this demolition was about to become the worst decision of his life. Now, I should mention that Yevgeny was being as cautious as he could. He was standing at least twice as far from the building being destroyed as the 2 men in front of him. Yevgeny was also standing off to the side, since given the demolition method, the debris looked like it was going to fall towards the excavator. Tragically, that is not what happened. As the excavator pulled the wall beyond its tipping point, it didn't detach cleanly and rotated mid-air, sending massive bricks and other debris hurling toward Yevgeny. And while the men standing nearby were nearly missed, Yevgeny wasn't so lucky.
Oh, the guy recording this video. Oh my gosh, look at all these stones. And this guy survived.
He was thrown to the ground by flying debris, with the impact leaving him critically wounded while others rushed over to help.
Look at the video.
Paramedics were called and rushed him to the hospital.
This is
Sadly,
the video.
It was too late. Yevgeny had suffered multiple complex fractures, damaged organs, and serious brain trauma. He passed away shortly after reaching the hospital, leaving his wife and 3-year-old daughter behind.
3-year-old
all because
daughter?
he wanted to watch a building being demolished from what he believed was a safe distance.
Wow.
The company in charge of the demolition was charged with criminal negligence for failing to establish an effective perimeter around the worksite, with the video Yevgeny captured serving as a crucial piece of evidence. However, no legal penalty could rewind time or erase the damage that had already been done.
What?
Armin Schmiener was a 28-year-old Italian man with
Wait, his name is Schmiener? His last name Schmiener? That's very interesting. Okay, let's keep watching.
For extreme sports. He originally started with skydiving and performed countless jumps across Europe. But as time went on, he started getting bored of skydiving and wanted to try something even more extreme. So, sometime in 2015, he switched from skydiving to wingsuit base jumping. Learning a brand new sport, especially one as dangerous as wingsuit base jumping, was quite risky. But Armin managed
That's
to pull through and became
crazy.
quite proficient at it in just 1 year. What he didn't know, however, was that his luck was about to run out. On the 26th of August 2016, Armin climbed to the summit of Mount Kangersteg in the Swiss Alps. On this day, he wanted to livestream his adventure, which started with him putting on the
Oh
equipment
my
and getting ready for the
gosh.
jump.
These
But
live
since he didn't have
streams,
any
bro.
streaming-capable action camera or a secure mount for his phone, he came up with an alternative solution, where once he was fully geared up, he told his viewers, "Today you fly with me," and put the phone in his pocket. All his viewers could see now was the darkness inside of his pocket, with some light bleeding through the fabric. But the
Don't
audio
tell
was
me
still
he's gonna like land on the ground. You're just gonna hear.
clear enough to understand what was going on, like Armin counting down and making the jump.
Zwei. Eins.
That's where he jumped.
Things seemed to be going as expected. However, about 20 seconds after he made the jump, his phone captured the sounds of Armin screaming, crashing into
God.
the mountainside and rapidly rolling down the steep terrain. The fall ended with Armin landing in the middle of a cow pasture, now being completely silent. His viewers quickly contacted the authorities, who spent the next few hours looking for him.
What?
Unfortunately, by the time they found him, it was already too late. Armin had succumbed to his injuries and passed away.
Oh my
And while the Swiss
gosh.
authorities never released the true cause of his death, whether it was equipment failure or pilot error, at the very least, he died doing what he loved.
That's right. That's very true. What's up, dummies? So I was just on YouTube and I saw this video pop up. It says YouTubers who recorded their last moments. This video almost has 4 million views. Apparently they're gonna be talking about YouTubers who recorded their final moments and I think they died or whatever. This might be a creepy ass video. Let's check it out.
Gwynfor Beach is a white sand beach just north of St. Ann Cove in West Cornwall, England.
Okay.
Because you have to go through some winding roads and sand dunes to get there, lots of people drive by that area without even realizing it's there. But for a YouTuber named Jacob Cockle, this was home. In 2011, Jacob started a channel called Whirlpool Hitman, where he would upload footage of his adventures swimming in whirlpools and doing other extreme stunts such as
See,
cliff
that's
jumping,
stupid.
extreme surfing, and cave
That's
exploration.
stupid. That's too high.
As of today,
That's
the channel
stupid.
has close to 150,000 subscribers. According to his family, Jacob lived his life on the edge, and his stunts often earned him covering shots in big surfing magazines and even prizes from the Sunday Times and National Geographic. In some of his whirlpool videos, Jacob would often throw stuff at a vortex and record random objects getting sucked down by the powerful currents.
See, I don't like whirlpools, bro. Thankfully, I've been to a ton of beaches in my life. I've never seen like a whirlpool, but if you guys have ever seen one, bro, like just like right there, he threw a
Throw
damn,
stuff
look,
at a vortex and record random
he threw a little doll in it and it just got sucked up. This dude, oh man, bro, y'all should not mess around with this stuff. You guys see a whirlpool, get the hell away, because you're gonna die.
objects getting sucked down by the powerful currents. But in most of his videos, he would actually swim in the whirlpools himself,
He's tripping, bro.
easily
He's
pull a person under
tripping,
in
bro.
seconds. On May 28, 2013, the whirlpool that made Hale Estuary famous surfaced again, as it did a few times a year. And Jacob was determined to swim in it to capture some cool-looking footage for his channel.
See,
That day, he
he's
ran up to
doing
his
too
friend
much.
and artist David Rain's house and asked him to film him as he swam around the whirlpool. David had collaborated with Jacob in the past.
Look at that,
and
bro.
seeing how excited his friend was, he agreed.
Yo, that thing will suck you to the bottom of the ocean, for real. Oh man,
Jacob
he's
brought a
dead.
prop to the harbor to make his video more eye-catching to his viewers, and
He's
for this
so dead.
particular video, he decided the prop would be a horse mask.
Oh, don't tell me he died in a whirlpool while wearing a horse mask. Oh no.
Several minutes on the vortex's edge, letting the current carry him in a
Check that
circle
out.
without dragging
Oh,
him
man.
down. At one point in the video, he mentions to his friend that swimming in a whirlpool was a lot like surfing because it was all about flowing with the currents. After filming for about 25 minutes, David mentions that they probably have enough footage and tries to get Jacob to come out of the water.
25 minutes swimming in this whirlpool. Oh god, what's gonna happen?
I reckon you got enough there.
Riding the current of it with your body.
Are you?
Yeah, it's really similar to surfing. Just flowing with it.
Get out, bro. Get out before it's too. This dude almost got sucked in.
You got
dude.
enough?
You got enough, bro.
Instead of
Trust.
getting out, Jacob asked David to hand him his stick-mounted GoPro so he could capture one last bit of underwater footage before calling it a day.
He's
A
done.
few seconds after he dived down, David started to worry as Jacob hadn't come back up to the surface.
Oh
When he yelled his friend's name and received no response, he ran to the other end of the quay where the water flowed into a pool. That's when he saw his friend face down in the water and knew it was too late.
Oh.
Jacob was gone. In March of 2014, Jacob's last footage was uploaded to YouTube with the haunting caption at the end of the video reading, "Live as if you were to die tomorrow, learn as if you were to live forever." At age 28, Jacob lost his life doing what he loved most. His funeral was attended by dozens more people than the church could accommodate, and they all gathered to celebrate his life and remember him as the fearless adventurer he was.
That's his casket? Why does that casket look small as hell? Was he 3 feet?
After his passing, the harbor was renovated, and the whirlpool that had captivated Jacob and ultimately taken his life disappeared forever.
What?
James Stobe was a YouTuber known for his unique train hopping videos, where he traveled across the country by riding on the back of freight trains, delighting his fans with his original piano playing, deadpan humor, and hilarious commentary on everything he saw.
Is he
Due to
tripping?
the risk of falling off the train or getting caught between moving cars, train hopping is extremely dangerous. But that hasn't stopped people from doing it since before the Great Depression.
So stupid.
In some of his videos, you'll find comments from people claiming that they had met Stobe at bars and assumed he was lying when he told them he train hopped across the country filming his adventures. But every time, Stobe surprised them with some pretty awesome footage of his cross-country train hopping trips.
So this guy travels around the country, jumping from train to train and not telling anyone. I'm pretty sure jumping from trains to trains and riding on trains without like paying for it and shit, I'm pretty sure that's illegal. So this guy just jumps on the back of trains, gets taken to who knows where. He doesn't even know where he's going. He just hops on the back of a train. That's insane, dog.
From Palm Beach to Jacksonville, Stobe loved sharing his raw experience of life on the rails with his audience, who always supported him in his unending search for some pizza and a cold beer. Sadly, the adventure came to a tragic end for Stobe on November 8, 2017, when a deadly train accident in Baltimore took his life. Unfortunately, due to the lack of media coverage of his passing, it's hard to know what exactly happened to James Stobe. But the most familiar sources claim that he either fell off an overpass or his backpack got caught on a passing Amtrak train as he was standing on a bridge. Because his death left so many questions unanswered, a lot of his fans submitted requests for the Baltimore Police Department to release more information on the case, but they were asked to remain respectful of Stobe's family and give them space.
Damn, he had a family? So this dude had children, he had a wife, he had a grandma. I mean, obviously, you're gonna have a mom who gave birth to him. I'm tweaking. This dude played piano with his daughter? Ah.
As of 2024, most of Stobe's fans still don't know exactly what happened to him. But
Damn,
if
for
one
real?
thing's for sure, Stobe the hobo passed away doing what he loved most, and his
Damn, so he was just train hopping and then he just like passed away somehow and nobody knows what really happened? Someone could have killed him.
legacy will live on forever.
So he was a YouTuber who posted videos of him get on trains. That's
High on
fire.
Life was a pretty popular YouTube channel with over 600,000 subscribers at its peak.
600K?
And the High on Life crew uploaded more than 400 videos showing their audience what it was like to make a living as full-time travelers. From
Okay,
exploring
that's
beautiful
fire.
tropical paradises to
That's
cliff jumping
fire.
to
I
diving
gotta go
sunken
there.
ships, High on Life always uploaded really cool videos of the crew's adventures across the globe.
Don't tell me they all died. Oh, don't tell me.
Living life by their motto, "If you can, you should," embracing life to the fullest was at the heart of everything they did. As
Okay.
mentioned in their channel description, part of their mission was to inspire their audience to get out and explore the world. For several years, the High on Life channel grew quickly, with travel content being released frequently. But on July 3, 2018, a tragic
July 3? On July 3? Is this guy AI?
accident would forever change the lives of the 10 team members and their audience.
10
That day,
people
the Royal
ran this
Canadian
channel?
Mounted Police reported that 3 people had been swimming in one of the pools at the top of Shannon Falls when they suddenly slipped and fell into a pool about 100 feet below. Shortly after, the bodies of the 3 victims were confirmed to belong to Riker Gamble, Alexi Lyak, and Megan Scraper. Riker and Alexi were High on Life members, while Megan was Alexi's longtime partner. Tragically, it was confirmed by the police that Riker and Alexi were trying to rescue Megan, who had slipped into fast-moving water before the 3 of them fell 100 feet.
Damn.
Through tears, the remaining members of the High on Life crew shared a touching goodbye message for Riker, Alexi, and Megan on their YouTube channel, remembering them as the kind, outgoing, life-loving people they were. Throughout the investigation, there were rumors that the 3 of them had been filming a video at the time of the accident, but this wasn't 100% confirmed.
Oh, snap.
In the aftermath of the tragic incident, a GoFundMe page was started to cover the funeral expenses, raising close to 30,000 Canadian with the help of their loyal audience. After uploading 5 tribute videos, the High on Life crew continued continued uploading videos of their travel adventures, honoring their friend's legacy.
Ooh.
The last video they uploaded was 2 years ago.
Damn, so they pretty much just gave up. So they used to just travel everywhere, and then this girl got stuck in this pool, and they tried to save her, and then they just died. Bro,
Since
what?
2009, fitness model and actor Greg Plitt uploaded over 120 videos to his channel where he motivated his subscribers to work out, challenge their bodies and minds, and leave a lasting legacy.
Bro, how did he die? He's strong as hell. He's healthy.
The philosophy of extreme discipline and seizing every day as an opportunity to become a better version of themselves.
Okay,
Throughout his
fair
career,
enough.
Greg inspired hundreds of thousands of young men to push beyond their limits, embrace hard work, and grab life by the horns. As a West Point graduate and Army Ranger who had jumped out of more than 1,000 planes throughout his career, Greg
That's
really did
tough.
practice what he preached.
That's tough. I just went skydiving. I was in Australia and I went skydiving. Skydiving's insane. If you can work up the courage to do it, if you're not like a baby and you actually will do it, you gotta do it. It was expensive though. It was like $400 or $500 just for me to do it. But oh, dude.
Sadly, in 2015, Greg lost his life at the age of 37 after being hit by a Metrolink commuter train in Burbank, California.
Oh.
According to witnesses, he had been shooting a video for his
No
website
way.
with 2 crew members when
No.
the accident took.
This dude was doing push-ups on a train track and he got hit? Why would you do push-ups on a train track? You're gonna get the same workout if you do a push-up on the ground. Ah!
Word, it appears that Greg was either trying to outrun a train and get an amazing shot for his website, or he mistakenly believed that an oncoming train was on a parallel track to his instead of the track he was on. Either way, several sources confirmed that at some point while he
What
was
is
running
he
on the
doing,
tracks, he
bro?
tripped, fell, and couldn't get up in time to avoid the oncoming train.
Oh.
Based on one witness's testimony, Greg had been holding a camcorder in his hand when he was struck by the train, but this was never officially confirmed. Chillingly, a bystander took a
recording?
photo of Greg standing near the tracks just a few moments before the
Oh
incident.
my god, they took a picture
Another
of him.
witness named James A. Brown claims he saw a security camera video of Greg running on the tracks as the train approached him from behind.
He had on all black, the train went by.
Do we believe him?
Stumbled over the tracks. He had a camcorder in his hand, something like yours. And then that was it. The train stopped.
Oh man, so this guy said,
Saw him walking across the track.
Well, I saw him stumble over the tracks as the train was going by.
wow.
And then it stops right there.
To this day, it's still not completely clear what Greg was attempting to do, but this wasn't
Yeah.
the first time he
Get
had
the
used
hell-
train
like-
tracks as a prop for his workout videos.
Get the hell off the train
In other
tracks.
videos, he had been filmed doing push-ups on the tracks, playing with
What is he
fire and
doing?
taunting death as he moved onto the way of oncoming trains just in time to avoid impact.
Huh?
Unfortunately, he couldn't react quick enough that afternoon in 2015.
What is he doing?
To this day, Greg is remembered as a prime example of what it means to live boldly.
That's badass.
Through his hundreds of thousands of fans, friends,
I gotta
and
do that.
family, his legacy will live on forever.
Damn, rest in peace to those YouTubers. This is another one. Okay, before we hear about this guy, I didn't know so many YouTubers were dying. This guy's putting me on. I didn't know all these YouTubers.
Norwegian YouTuber who rose to fame with his videos where he would do some pretty risky stuff
Oh.
on frozen waters.
Okay, I already know. This guy fell in, bro, like ice, like lakes that are frozen over. They're fun to play around on. Like I've played on frozen lakes, but if you fall in, you're so cooked. You're dead. Ice is not something to play around. Plus, like once you touch that water, you're gonna be like you're gonna have like maybe like 20 to 30 seconds until your body starts going hypothermic. Oh man.
Including ice skating on thin sheets of ice and diving
What's he
in ice
doing?
holes shirtless.
What the Oh, this guy's
On his
different.
journey to break the 1 million follower mark, Apator captivated his viewers by accompanying his stunts with some very unique habits, including drinking entire bottles of vodka, rolling around in the snow half naked and
Yo, he's tweaking. I know he's freezing cold. People do crazy things for views. Yo, I'm literally just sitting here reacting to a video, and this guy is making videos about being in snow. Bro, I have stepped out. Like, so where I'm from in Illinois, it snows pretty bad, like, in the winter. And one time I remember I went outside with no shoes, and my feet, like, almost fell off in 5 seconds. So I don't know what the hell is wrong with this guy.
Throughout his YouTube career, Apator's audience fell in love with his extremely quirky style and his unique antics, which earned him the support of well over
What is
1.3
he
million
doing?
followers as of his last video.
1.3 million subs?
Sadly, on November 27, 2021, just a few days after he turned 57 and eerily posted a video titled, "I am not dead, I'm 57 today," Apator fell through the ice on a frozen lake near the town of Kongsberg while shooting some footage of himself ice skating. Before he started skating, he had sent a text informing the person he lived with that everything was okay and that he was looking forward to capturing some good footage. After falling through the ice, Tor quickly tried climbing back out, but because the temperature wasn't cool enough to freeze back the edges, it kept breaking under his weight, leaving him trapped. After a while, Tor was picked up by a group of divers and sent by air ambulance to a nearby hospital. The doctors tried everything to bring him back to life, but it was too late as Avatar had been in the water too long. In the last video he uploaded, thousands of his loyal followers expressed their condolences and sadness at his passing. Even in
That's weird how his last video he posted says, "I'm 57, but I'm not dead," and then he literally died.
A lot about his content that even after his death, his videos are still receiving thousands and thousands of views from fans
Probably
and
making
curious viewers
hella
all
money.
around the world.
Wow. Yeah, his last video has 8 million
Albert
views.
Dyrland was a Danish actor
Another
and
one?
YouTuber who was best known for making comedy sketches and music videos for his songs. He also starred in a comedy movie named Team Albert, which follows the life of a high schooler who wants to become YouTube famous. The movie would actually go on to win the Blockbuster Audience Award at the 2019 Danish Film Awards.
Damn, he won a film award?
2021,
That's badass.
Albert was hiking Mount Seceda in the Italian Alps.
Hiking? Don't tell me he died hiking.
During the hike, he uploaded a story to Instagram where he showed his beautiful surroundings to his followers. Sadly, that same day, as he was recording a video on his phone, he fell off the mountain and plummeted more than 600 feet to his death.
600 feet. Yo. That is pain.
In the incident, a rescue helicopter was sent to the location, but unfortunately, he was pronounced dead at the scene. His tragic death shook the YouTube community and
So this guy was a YouTuber who just made like music videos and he was on a hike. He wasn't even recording. He was just on a hike and he fell off a mountain.
harsh reminder that capturing footage in extreme terrain comes with its own set of risks. To this day,
All right,
Albert
shout out to Chillin' Scares for this cool video. He put me on to a bunch of YouTubers I didn't know that died. If you want to watch another video, click right here. If you don't want to, peace out. What's up, dummies? Today we're about to look at some YouTubers who went missing. This is the video right here. YouTube channels that were abandoned for crazy reasons. So these people went missing and there's crazy reason behind it. Let's watch this. This is gonna be insane. All right, let's
Eastman
check
was
it.
a 26-year-old man from Vermont, USA.
All
He
right.
spent most of his early years in the tiny town of Heinsberg.
Okay.
Life there was calm and peaceful, but with a population of less than 600 residents, it was also quite boring.
Damn.
Elliot wanted to do something more with his life. So, with his love for nature and exploration in mind, he saved up some money and traveled to the Philippines near the end of 2023.
Okay.
He wanted to slowly make his way through the entire country and witness its beauty firsthand. But just a couple months into his trip, he met a local woman named Karisha Jayla. The two started dating and got married just a few months after that, in July of
What?
2023.
What?
Then, in January 2024, Elliot started posting videos on YouTube, documenting his life in the Philippines with his wife. His
Okay.
videos were simple, without any over-the-top music or crazy editing effects, but they felt authentic and real, allowing him to amass a small but dedicated fan base.
Okay,
Though his
7,000
content
subs,
took a
not
massive
bad.
shift in May 2024 when he decided to move to the beachside village his wife was from in the Cebuco municipality. Unfortunately, it wasn't long before this spiraled into the worst decision he'd ever make.
Oh god.
You see, Cebuco is part of what's known as the Red Zone in the Philippines. Put simply, this is the most dangerous section of the country, especially for
Oh.
foreigners. Armed
Oh,
robberies,
no.
kidnappings, and even murders are not uncommon in this region, with
Oh,
over 40
no.
Westerners going missing there in just the last decade. However, Elliot was well aware of this fact, as evident from his channel's description, which read,
Okay.
I'm Elliot Eastman. I am 26 years old and I came to the Philippines about a year and a half ago, where I met the love of my life deep in the mountains of the Red Zone of the Philippines.
Okay.
I will be showing you my day-to-day life as the first and only foreigner to have ever lived here in Cebuco for a long period of time. He mentioned the danger in some of his
Huh.
video titles as well. But despite the threat to his life, he still wanted to build a life in Cebuco.
So basically, this guy met his wife when he traveled. He met her, got married. Then he moved to the most dangerous part of the Philippines, where a lot of people that are from like the United States and stuff, they don't live there because it's dangerous. But he said he don't care. He doesn't care that it's dangerous, so he's gonna live there. And something's about to happen. That's why he's in this video. Oh,
So
God.
he rented an apartment and even built his own grocery shop near the beach, all while documenting the entirety of his journey on YouTube.
Okay.
Now, there were times when he felt threatened and had to hide from some locals to avoid getting in serious trouble. But despite the somewhat dire circumstances, Elliot was enjoying his time in Cebuco and slowly building the
Looks
life
beautiful.
he wanted. However, just when things were starting to look up for Elliot, tragedy struck. The incident took place on the night of October 17th, 2024, when, after doing several short live streams throughout the day, Elliot went offline and sat for dinner with his wife and her parents. But then, a few minutes later, 4 men with guns barged into their home and started telling Elliot to go outside.
No.
These men were also wearing outfits similar to those of the Filipino police, likely in hopes of making Elliot more cooperative. Elliot, however, saw through their disguise and tried to run away. Unfortunately, that's when things went from bad to worse.
No.
One of them opened fire and ended up shooting Elliot twice, once in the leg and once in the abdomen. They then dragged him onto the speedboat they had docked near their home and sped off into the darkness. This was the last time anyone saw Elliot alive. By the time the police launched a search and rescue mission, the kidnapper's boat was nowhere to be found. The investigation then went on for nearly a month until the 12th of November. But when the police eventually located the kidnappers, they were forced into a shootout, resulting in 3 of the 4 culprits losing their lives. And while they did manage to arrest the last kidnapper, it was already too late. According to the kidnapper, Elliot succumbed to his injuries when he was on the speedboat.
Oh, man.
So the kidnappers simply threw his body overboard to hide the primary evidence of their crime.
Bro,
Unfortunately, the police were unable to locate his remains and pronounced him officially dead in December of 2024.
Are you kidding me,
However,
bro?
one question still remained unanswered. Why? Why did these 4 criminals target Elliot?
Yeah.
Well, the simplest explanation is also the most likely one. They just wanted to kidnap him for ransom. Caresha even had a first-hand experience with this, as back in high school, one of her Canadian classmates was kidnapped and held for a ransom of $50,000 US.
Wow.
That said, there's also a second potential explanation that has to do with Elliot's side business. You see, while operating his grocery store, Elliot also started lending the locals money for 20% interest. A local loan shark likely saw him as a competitor and sought to eliminate Elliot before he took away any more of his business. This would also explain why the intruders were so quick to open fire if they wanted to hold him for ransom.
Come on,
Regardless of their motive, the end result was the loss of a young man
this
trying
is
to make a
sad.
life for himself with his wife in a foreign land. His
Wow.
YouTube channel now sits abandoned, with its many uploads remaining as proof as the life he once lived.
Wow. Bro. Yeah, as you can see, this is his channel right now. I'm on his channel. So he's literally, like, he's passed away, bro. He fell in love with a lady that he met in the Philippines. He moved to, like, a bad part of the area because she lived there. Like, she was born there. She wanted to move there. He moved there. He didn't care. He says he's the first and only foreigner to live in Cebuco for a long period of the time. Basically, most foreigners don't move there because they try to kill foreigners. And this is his last video. In his last video, he's eating noodles and stuff. Bro, what? That's really sad, but we gotta see the other ones.
Benjamin Pardoon, known online as Warner the Goobermeister, was a
What?
comedian creator on YouTube who primarily focused on creating a genre of memes known as YouTube poops, which is a subgenre of online humor that revolves around taking clips from other shows, usually cartoons, and editing them to have a bizarre, often nonsensical tone.
Okay.
Over time, Benjamin's channel had amassed over 8.7 million views,
Nice.
making him a well-known name in the YTP community. But after his upload on December 21st, 2021, he suddenly vanished from the internet, leaving his fans wondering what could have happened. Unfortunately, the reason for his disappearance was far more tragic than simply getting bored and moving on from the channel, as most of his
man.
audience had assumed.
Dude, it's so crazy. Like, I know that YouTubers disappear every single day. Like, I could easily die, like, tomorrow. Who knows? But, like, dude, it's just sad, like, seeing YouTubers who post videos and people who love these YouTubers just dying one day.
Place on the 27th of January 2022, when his older brother Chris tried to contact him many times but didn't hear back.
Okay.
Left with no other option, Chris called the police at around 8 p.m. to check on his parents and little brother. When the officers arrived at his house, the lights were on, but no one was answering the door. After repeated knocks, the officers knew something was off, so they decided to break in.
Ooh.
But nothing could have prepared them for the horrific scene they saw behind that door.
Oh, no.
Inside, they found the bodies of Benjamin and his parents, all with visible gunshot wounds. However, what looked like a robbery gone wrong turned out to be far more tragic. According to the investigation, both Benjamin and his mother Deborah were shot by his father that evening,
Oh my
who,
God.
after committing the crime, decided to end things for himself
Oh
as
my
well.
God, dude.
The news of this incident was a massive shock for Benjamin's viewers,
Bro, come
as he'd
on,
never
bro.
mentioned any family troubles before.
So this kid was the YouTuber who was making, like, edits and stuff, and people really liked his funny videos. He was a kid, bro.
Chris later set up a GoFundMe page in November of
Look at him.
2022, which not only allowed Benjamin's fans to support the only living member of his family, it also gave some insight into what might have happened.
Dude, I didn't even realize it. This Benjamin kid, his brother was the only one left alive, bro. Imagine, so this guy so the family had a mom, a dad, and 2 sons. The son died, the mom died, and the dad died. Imagine your whole family's just dead, and you're the only one left. Oh my God.
He was born in 2005 and was soon diagnosed with autism.
Oh,
This
he
made
had
it difficult for him
autism.
to interact with people in person. Because of this, he was homeschooled, and at just 8 years old, he started uploading on YouTube, hoping to
Wow.
make friends and find a sense of community.
So
Sadly, Benjamin's
post on
condition was far
YouTube.
from the only challenge their family had to face. Deborah was also suffering from nerve damage after an accident, and the father, Gregory, had also gotten in a car accident in the past and could barely walk. On top
Oh,
of that, the
man.
family was also struggling with severe financial issues, which could explain why Gregory felt the need to take such a drastic measure, seemingly out of nowhere. As Chris puts it, "My dad was a proud man. He was ashamed to ask or seek out help." Although Benjamin's content was somewhat niche, it left a big impact on those who came across it, with some even uploading new videos in his style to keep his memory alive.
wow. That's nice of people, bro. All right, this next
Harley
one
Dilly was a
crazy.
YouTube channel run by a 14-year-old teenager from Ohio with the same name.
Huh.
He created the channel in 2013 to share his love of
playing
gaming,
Madden
specifically the sports game Madden, with others. He also uploaded vlogs on YouTube, where he talked about anything that was on his mind that day. But for Harley himself, these were more than just videos. They were one of the many forms of escape he had from his troubled life.
Oh,
You see,
God.
Harley suffered from oppositional defiant disorder and was also diagnosed with high-functioning autism. This resulted in him getting into heated arguments with his parents quite often and subsequently ending up in a worse situation. In one instance, he even posted a video talking about how he was locked
I'm
out of the house
scared?
after an argument with his mother, titled, "I'm Scared."
Oh
Hey
God.
guys, what's up? It is Harley Dilly. Probably one of my worst days in my life. I was at school and I was science test. I finished it and my computer says 1% battery left. So I get to the next class and I put it on charger as quick as possible, but it didn't charge. None of the computers would take a charge. So I took it back and I had to fill out a complaint, and that's one of the most expensive parts of the computer. And my mom said she's not paying anything. We argued for about a good 5 minutes. Then she snapped. She said she was gonna call the police, and she said she already did. And she locked me out of the house. So right now I'm outside. Yep, the house is locked.
What's
is
wrong with his
3:30.
mom?
I haven't ate anything, and I still haven't even got to get my work done. My mom's gone. She
What's
won't
wrong with
answer the
his
phone.
mom, bro? Kicking
There
the
were also
kid out
allegations
of
of
the house?
some of his family members being physically
I see
aggressive
why.
to him. But despite all this, Harley was still a cheerful kid who wanted nothing more than to play Madden and grow his YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, this ambition was tragically cut short on
No.
December 20th, 2019,
No.
when Harley went to school and never came back. The day had started off rough. Harley was still upset after arguing with his parents the night before, as they had refused to replace his broken smartphone. He also didn't want to go to school that day. But his mother Heather woke up early that day and, after some more arguing, convinced him to go. He left his house just before 7 a.m., but he was somehow absent from school and didn't return home that evening either. Harley had disappeared without a trace. Surprisingly, his family didn't report him missing until 11:50 p.m. on December 21st, nearly 43 hours after he vanished.
What? This kid went to school. This kid, so his parents thought he went to school, but then he never went to school that day. He didn't come home that night. Then he wasn't home all day the next day, and then they reported him missing the next night. If my kid didn't come home from school, I'm figuring it out. It almost took 3 days for them to report him missing. The family's weird, bro.
Their explanation for the delay was simple. According to them, Harley had spent the night at friends' houses without telling them before, usually after an argument. They assumed this time was the same. However,
I mean,
they
still, you gotta check in on your kid, bro. You still gotta at least be like, okay, are you at your friend's house? Like, I'm not gonna be a strict parent. I'm not gonna be like an over parenter where I'm like, oh, you can't go here, go here. Like, I want my kid to tell me where they're at all times. I just need to know where they're at, and then I'm cool with it. If you want to go down to the damn park, cool, but just let me know so I know where you are,
have been
bro.
more wrong. Something that became increasingly clear as the police investigation dragged on for days without uncovering a single clue about his whereabouts.
What?
The only thing they found was this low-resolution picture of Harley going to school that was taken from a neighbor's security camera.
Wow,
And
the last
that was it.
picture of him?
Eventually, many other organizations, including the FBI, joined the search as well. They also distributed his missing posters nationwide and offered an $18,000 reward, hoping to receive any information that could lead them in the right direction. Unfortunately, although they received numerous tips, none led to any significant progress in the case. That is until the 13th of January, over 23 days after Harley went missing, when
23
the investigators
days.
made the big discovery. They were recanvassing the area immediately surrounding Harley's home when one of the investigators decided to check out the vacant house directly across from the Dilly residence. This was a summer home and was fully locked at the time. There was also no indications of anyone breaking into the home. However, the investigators had looked everywhere else to no avail. This was one of their last options. So they acquired the key to this home and started looking around. They didn't find anything on the ground floor. But as soon as they climbed the stairs, one of them noticed a maroon puffer jacket lying on the ground, the same jacket that Harley was wearing on the morning of his disappearance. As they got closer, they also noticed his glasses lying on the floor as well.
What?
But there were no signs of Harley anywhere. Both the glasses and the jacket had also collected plenty of dirt, indicating that they must have been there for a long time. While they were looking around, one of the investigators noticed the chimney vent above where his glasses and jacket were discovered. This sort of vent is used to connect traditional wood-burning heaters. Curious to see what was in it, he reached into the hole, only for his hand to touch human hair on the other side. There was no doubt about it, that was Harley, stuck in the chimney. Officers quickly dismantled the wall, and sure enough, they found Harley's body inside, with his arms raised above his head. A later autopsy concluded that he likely passed away the day he went missing. His particular position at the time of discovery also helped investigators piece together what might have happened that day. As the story goes, Harley didn't want to go to school that day, so he decided to spend the time at the vacant home until the afternoon to make it seem like he went to school. But when he couldn't find a way in from the ground floor, he climbed onto the roof using the antenna tower beside the house. From there, he looked into the chimney and saw a relatively short drop and chose to climb down it to enter the house.
You're kidding me. This kid didn't want to go to school, so he went across the street into a house that nobody was in because it was a summer vacation house and it wasn't the summer. He goes in the chimney.
However, what he failed to realize was that this chimney didn't lead to a spacious fireplace. Instead, it only connected to a couple of small vents for heater exhausts, leaving him stuck at the bottom. Due to the way he climbed down, his jacket was likely halfway removed already. So he pushed it through the vent to free up some space, and his glasses fell through as well. Sadly, there was nothing else he could do in that position. His chest was pressed tightly against the chimney's wall, making it impossible to breathe, resulting in him slowly succumbing to asphyxiation. Put simply, this was nothing more than a tragic accident. Now, given this conclusion, Harley's case should have ended there. However, some people, especially as YouTube viewers, weren't satisfied with the official report. Many of them believed that this wasn't an accident at all. Rumors started going around the internet that Harley's death was actually a murder committed by his own family. One of the first big points of contention was his jacket, since in one of the evidence images it could be seen hanging from the door. These critics claimed that this was proof of the whole story being a lie.
Wait, how did... Okay, so this is the hole to the chimney, right? So he was like right here in the wall. He climbed down the chimney all the way down, then was just right here. He was too hot in there or whatever, so he tried to take his jacket off and he pushed it through the hole. How would it have gotten on this door? Somebody had to have been there with him and hung his...
Some also argued that the shoes he was wearing in his last picture didn't match the ones the investigators found on him. However, despite the skepticism, the police stuck with their initial report. As for the jacket issue, that turned out to be nothing more than the result of one of the inexperienced investigators mistakenly moving key evidence. That said, whatever the truth may be, it doesn't change the fact that the YouTube community lost a genuine and passionate creator.
That is so nuts. This kid didn't want to go to school because he had a lot of family issues and stuff, so he went across the street to the house. He couldn't get into the house, and he was scared like his parents were going to see him on the porch, so he climbs the roof. And he's like, oh snap, I'm going to go down the chimney and then get into the house. He goes in the chimney and he realizes that it's not like a fireplace where like most chimneys goes down and then into the living room. And it's like, oh nice, you got to crawl out of the But that was a chimney where it was just, oh no. No.
Nicholas
Rest in peace.
Sonderegger was a 28-year-old YouTuber who
What?
loved two things in life, longboarding and dancing. He
Okay.
uploaded nearly 80 videos of himself doing both of these on his channel named Sunspeak.
Okay.
Though his ultimate dream was to become a professional dancer. By 2017, he was living in San Diego with his friend Austin to try and make his dream come true. However, the two were completely broke and couldn't afford California's high rent prices. So, with no other option, the two decided to live in tents or random trailers they could find in the Salton Sea area.
What?
Salton Sea used to be a popular tourist destination at one point due to its status as an oasis in the middle of the desert. But the water and the surrounding area became extremely toxic over time, turning it into a complete ghost town.
That's
On the
crazy.
flip side, this also made living there essentially free, which is what Nick and Austin
True.
were after. But what neither of them knew at the time was that the true danger of Salton Sea had nothing to do with its toxic climate. This danger came face to face with the two on the night of September 9th, 2018 at around 2 a.m. They were asleep in their tent when suddenly they were jolted awake by an extremely loud scream coming from the tree line not far from their camp. Fearing for their safety, they decided to just ignore it altogether and go back to sleep. Or that's at least what Austin thought. For some unknown reason, Nick later decided to go investigate the scream on his own after Austin had fallen back asleep. By the time Austin woke up the next morning, Nick was gone.
Oh my god.
He tried looking around for his longtime friend around town and discovered his flashlight lying on the ground just a block away from their tent.
He's dead.
He immediately
He's
contacted the police and reported Nick as missing, who began looking for him almost immediately. But all they found was one of his boots, his pants, and his knife sleeve. His other boot, as well as his wallet and keys, were missing. More importantly, Nick himself was nowhere to be found. What made the situation even more bizarre was what happened days later. Austin returned to the same area he had already searched, but this time he found Nick's shirt and hat lying there, items that weren't there before.
What?
In other words, someone had likely placed them in that
Somebody
spot later.
put that stuff
Sadly, the identity of this person was never uncovered, leaving Nick's case a complete mystery to this day.
What?
Nick's family has set up a website with all the information they have. They've also announced a $10,000 reward for any useful information. But
Wait, so he's never been found? Wait, let me get this straight. So there was two guys living in like a ghost town. This was a popular town before, but then it all shut down because like, I don't know, people started moving out. So they started living in these abandoned buildings and stuff. It was pretty much free because if there's nobody living there, then like you can just live there, whatever. So they lived there. And then one night they hear like a scream outside. So they're like, what the hell? So they both go look and they're like, okay, we're not going to look at that. That's creepy. So they go back inside and sleep. But then Nick, this guy right here, wakes up and decides to go investigate, even though his friend and him just agreed not to. Then his friend goes to sleep, Nick goes to explore, and is never seen again.
Despite these efforts, the case has remained cold. In fact, there are so few clues that I wasn't even able to find any solid theories either. Some
No
have
theories.
speculated that Austin might have killed Nick and hidden his body. However, the police investigation uncovered no evidence of foul play. There's still a chance that some unexpected discovery would crack this case wide open. But until then, Nick's disappearance remains an unsolved mystery, and his YouTube channel remains abandoned.
Dude, that's crazy, bro. What's up, dummies? Today we're about to react to the most tragic YouTuber deaths ever. Look at this thumbnail. Somebody apparently died by vlogging because they got their camera stuck in their head, and then the other guy was doing like a challenge. I don't even know what the hell that is, but we're about to see the craziest YouTuber deaths of all time. Tune in. This is
June
crazy.
30th, 2022, a video titled
Technoblade.
So Long Nerds appeared on the Technoblade YouTube channel. Alexander, known to over 10 million subscribers as Technoblade, was a Minecraft player renowned for his strategic...
Okay, yeah, I heard of him plenty of times. I've heard of a lot of people making fun of his death and stuff and using him for views. I never really watched Technoblade's video. I know he was like a Minecraft YouTuber, but let's see how he died. This is gonna be
gameplay
crazy.
and dry humor. The video, narrated by his father, revealed that Alexander had died at 23 after an 8-month battle with stage 4 sarcoma. The cancer had first manifested as pain in his right arm in July 2021. Initially dismissed as repetitive stress from gaming, the discomfort persisted until a medical scan revealed a malignant tumor. By the time of diagnosis, the cancer had already metastasized throughout his body. Aggressive chemotherapy followed, but the sarcoma continued spreading to his lungs and bones. In his final months, Alexander crafted one last message for his audience, writing it from his hospice bed as opioids barely managed his pain. His father later explained that in Alexander's final days, the young man lost motor function and struggled to speak as the disease attacked his central nervous system. His breathing became increasingly increasingly labored, until, surrounded by family, Alexander's body finally surrendered to the cancer that had systematically destroyed it from within.
Okay, so basically, Technoblade, he felt some pain in his arm, but he thought it was because he was just like playing Minecraft hell. Like, you know, like people who play Minecraft, they'd be like spam clicking, they'd be like, grrr, like trying to kill the enemies in Minecraft and stuff. He thought his arm pain was from the freaking Minecraft gaming too much, but it was actually cancer, bro. This literally goes to show, if you feel any pain in your body or you feel anything weird at all, at least go to the doctor. See me, I don't really have any pain. Like, I feel pretty good. I could like do a backflip right now. Actually, I probably can't do a backflip because whatever. If you feel any pain, bro, at least talk to somebody because you never know. You might have like cancer or something. All right, let's see the next YouTuber.
In March 2012, the animation community lost one of its pioneering voices when Ed Gould died at just 23 years old. The creator of Ed's World had built a
Why does everybody keep dying at 23 years old, bro? What's up with that?
Following with his quirky, colorful cartoons that blended humor with autobiographical elements. What many of his fans didn't realize was that behind the cheerful animations, Ed had been fighting leukemia for 6 years. The blood cancer had progressed slowly at first, allowing him to continue creating between treatments. Even as his condition worsened, Ed refused to step away from his work. Hospital staff would find him sketching from his bed, IV lines running into his...
So this YouTuber was like an animation YouTuber, but he didn't tell anyone he had cancer, but he had cancer the whole time. See, most people would be like, I got cancer, and they post a video, they get millions of views, they get hella money. But this guy didn't care, bro. He just cared about his videos. That's actually, shout out to him. That's cool.
His friends reported that he would joke about his illness, turning pain into comedy even as his body weakened. By early 2012, the leukemia had advanced beyond treatment. His bone marrow was failing, unable to produce the cells needed to fight infection or carry oxygen. On March 25th, surrounded by friends and family, Ed Gould drew his final breath. The animation he'd been working on remained unfinished on his tablet beside him. Christina Grimmie. On June 10th, 2016, 22-year-old singer and YouTuber Christina Grimmie had...
What's up with all these 22 and 23-year-olds? What are they trying to say, bro?
Just finished performing at the Plaza Live in Orlando,
That's 3 in a row!
Known for her powerful vocals and covers that had earned her millions of subscribers, Christina always made time to meet fans after shows.
Oh my God, bro. Don't tell me she's going to do a meet and greet with one of her fans and the fans going to kill her.
That night, she sat at a merchandise table, signing autographs and taking photos with a line of admirers. At approximately 10:24 p.m., a 27-year-old man named Kevin James Loibel approached the table. Christina, seeing another fan, smiled and opened her arms for a hug. In that moment, Loibel pulled out a 9mm handgun and fired 4 shots at point-blank range. 2 bullets struck her in the chest, 1 in the head. Her brother Marcus immediately tackled the shooter, but Loibel broke free just long enough to turn the gun on himself, firing a single fatal shot. Chaos erupted as fans scattered. Christina lay bleeding on the venue floor, still breathing but unconscious. Paramedics rushed her to Orlando Regional Medical Center, where doctors fought to stabilize her, but the damage was catastrophic. At 11:51 p.m., Christina Grimmie was pronounced dead.
I'm never doing a meet and greet ever, bro. Y'all gonna pull a pistol. I know y'all.
On December 10th, 2017, Charles Marvin Green Jr., known to millions as the explosive Angry Grandpa...
Oh, I know Angry Grandpa. I'm gonna put a picture of him on the screen right now. I know Angry Grandpa. Wait, he died? What? He died from being too angry. He died from rage.
His final labored breath. The 67-year-old YouTube sensation had...
67?
Built a following of over 3.4 million subscribers with his volatile reactions and destructive outbursts. What many viewers didn't see was his years-long battle with multiple health issues. Green's cirrhosis had steadily deteriorated his liver function, causing toxic buildup in his bloodstream. His heart, already weakened from previous cardiac events, struggled under the strain. In his final weeks, fluid accumulated in his lungs and extremities. His son Michael, who had filmed his father's antics for years, documented a different side as the elder Green's skin took on a yellowish hue and his breathing became more strained. That Sunday morning, Green was surrounded by his children in his North Charleston home. His body, once animated with rage for the camera, now barely moved as organs systematically shut down. At 4:48 p.m., Green's heart finally stopped beating. The man whose temper seemed unstoppable had been silenced not by choice, but by the body he had neglected. Total Biscuit. On May 24th, 2018, John Bain, known...
This guy's name is Total Biscuit. Bro, that's the hungriest dude on the planet.
Online as Total Biscuit, lost his final battle against cancer. The 33-year-old British gamer...
Dude, this is some OG knowledge. I almost named my channel DJ Loves Biscuit. I'm serious.
Gaming critic had built his reputation on unflinching honesty and consumer advocacy. In April 2014, Bain announced his diagnosis of bowel cancer. Initially given hope, the disease had already silently spread. By October 2015, doctors discovered metastatic lesions in his liver. The cancer was now stage 4, considered terminal. Still, Bain continued creating content, documenting his treatments with characteristic frankness. His body weakened as chemotherapy ravaged his immune system. The cancer continued its methodical invasion, spreading to his spine and ribs. In early 2018, Bain revealed that chemotherapy was no longer effective. His liver function deteriorated rapidly, causing jaundice and extreme fatigue. On May 22nd, he entered a hepatic coma as toxins. His failing liver couldn't filter reached his brain. His wife Jenna stayed beside him as his breathing became irregular. At 1:49 a.m., John Bain's fight ended.
I don't
The
know
voice that
Total
had demanded
Biscuit.
better from the gaming industry fell silent, leaving only echoes across the platforms he once critiqued. Grant Thompson. On July 29, 2019, Grant Thompson took his paramotor into the skies above Hurricane, Utah. The 38-year-old creator of the King of Random YouTube channel, with over 12 million subscribers, had only recently developed a passion for paramotoring. Essentially,
Oh, that's that one stuff where you basically like jump off of a cliff or whatever, but you have like it's like a small helicopter on your back. That's kind of cool.
parachuting with a motor-driven propeller strapped to your back.
Bro.
That evening, Thompson told his family he'd be gone for about an hour.
He got 4 kids and a wife. His wife's hairline is so pushed back.
When darkness fell and he hadn't returned, his wife called authorities. His phone's GPS coordinates led search teams to a remote area near Sand Hollow State Park. Just after midnight, rescuers spotted wreckage from the air. Thompson's paramotor had crashed into the side of a rocky hill. The impact was catastrophic. Investigators found that Thompson had collided with the terrain at high speed, likely after experiencing a sudden equipment malfunction or unexpected wind condition. The force crushed his chest cavity and caused massive internal trauma. Medical examiners determined death was instantaneous from blunt force injuries. The man who had taught millions how to safely conduct science experiments and build weekend projects had no time to deploy his emergency parachute. His body was recovered as dawn broke over the desert landscape he'd been admiring just hours before. Josh Newman. On February 3rd, 2022, a small Cessna aircraft disappeared. A filmmaker and professional skateboarder known for his breathtaking downhill skateboarding videos that had earned him over
I've seen some of those videos before where people go down the hill super fast on a skateboard. That's crazy. They got balls. They got huge, stinky, smelly hanging balls.
1.2 million subscribers. What? Newman was in Iceland shooting promotional content when he boarded the sightseeing flight alongside pilot
he got on a plane
and 2 other passengers. The plane took off at 3:46 p.m. in clear conditions. At 5:05 p.m., radar contact was lost. When the aircraft failed to return, Icelandic Coast Guard launched search operations immediately. For 3 days, teams scoured the frigid waters. On February 6th, sonar equipment detected wreckage 37 meters below the surface. Divers confirmed the plane had hit the water at high speed, disintegrating upon impact. The cabin had completely collapsed, subjecting all passengers to catastrophic force. Recovery teams found Newman's body still strapped to his seat. Autopsy revealed he suffered massive trauma to his head and chest from the impact. The water in his lungs indicated he may have survived the initial crash for brief moments before succumbing to the freezing water.
Breathing
Caleb
the
Logan
water.
Bertaley.
Oh my God.
On October 1st, 2015, 13-year-old Caleb Logan collapsed suddenly in his family home in Maryland. Known to millions of viewers as the charming, witty son on the Bertaley YouTube channel, Caleb had spent nearly half his life in front of cameras that documented his family's everyday moments. What the cameras never captured, what no one could see, was the silent killer developing within his chest. Medical examiners would later determine that Caleb suffered from hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, a condition where the heart muscle thickens abnormally. The disease shows no external symptoms in many cases, leaving those affected completely unaware of the danger. That evening, Caleb had been playing with his sisters when he suddenly clutched his chest. His parents rushed to his side as he struggled to breathe. His heart, its walls fatally thickened, had begun to fail. Blood backed up in his chambers as the muscle struggled to pump effectively. Despite frantic CPR attempts from his father and then paramedics, oxygen couldn't reach his brain. Within minutes, the boy who grew up in front of millions died before he could even understand what was happening to him. Desert drifter. On January 31st, 2025, Andrew Cross was driving home from filming a sunset time-lapse in Arizona's Sonoran Desert. The 29-year-old, known to his 750,000 subscribers as Desert Drifter, had built his channel around breathtaking landscape photography.
Don't tell me he's gonna go to the desert and like fall off of a cliff, bro. I've seen this too many times, bro. I don't want to hear about a guy falling off a cliff.
Wilderness survival tips. At 8:42 p.m., as he waited at a red light on the outskirts of Phoenix, a pickup truck traveling at approximately 87 miles per hour slammed into the rear of his vehicle. The impact propelled Cross's car into the intersection where it was struck again by crossing traffic. First responders found him unconscious, but breathing, trapped in the crushed metal frame. At Banner University Medical Center, doctors discovered severe hemorrhaging in Cross's brain. The impact had caused his brain to violently strike the inside of his skull, tearing blood vessels and causing critical swelling. For 5 weeks, Cross remained on ventilator support as his brain activity steadily declined. Multiple EEG tests showed minimal electrical activity. On March 4th, with Cross showing no signs of neurological recovery, his family made the decision to withdraw life support. At 3:17 p.m., surrounded by parents and siblings, the ventilator was turned off.
So that's crazy, bro. He was just driving and he got hit by a car and then another car hit him. Like, that's crazy. You just never know in life. Like, you could just be driving, hanging out, boom!
Andrew Cross took 10 final breaths before his damaged brain could no longer signal his lungs to continue. Comic Storian. On February 12th, 2025, Ben Potter...
2025? That was like 3 months ago! Whoa, I gotta hear about this.
Sedan veered off Interstate 25 near Denver, Colorado. The 40-year-old former soldier, known to millions as Comic Storian, had built his channel by narrating comic book stories with his distinctive baritone voice. Potter was returning from a convention when witnesses reported his car suddenly swerving at 68 miles per hour. The vehicle struck a guardrail, went airborne, and flipped 6 times before coming to rest in a drainage ditch. First responders found Potter partially ejected from the driver's side window. Though conscious when paramedics arrived, he couldn't feel anything below his neck. The impact had severed his spinal cord between the C2 and C3 vertebrae, causing immediate quadriplegia.
You might as well just die. If you just can't move any muscles, you can only, like you can't, imagine just not feeling anything. Bro, oh my God.
As medics worked to stabilize him, a secondary hemorrhage began in his spinal column. Blood pressure dropped rapidly as Potter went into hypovolemic shock. The ambulance was still 14 minutes from the trauma center when his heart stopped beating. Paramedics performed CPR continuously but couldn't restore circulation. By the time they reached University Hospital, Potter's brain had been without oxygen for nearly 20 minutes. At 5:42 p.m., doctors pronounced him dead, the voice that had brought countless superhero stories to life silenced by a single moment of lost control. If you want to...
so he was just driving and then he like must have hit hit a little squirrel or hit like a stick or something. Boom, 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 and then he died. Damn.
What's up, dummies? We're about to react to how every legendary YouTuber died. We're gonna find out how Technoblade died. We're gonna find out how Angry Grandpa died. And I don't even know this lady, but apparently this old lady named Linja or whatever, she looks kind of nice. She died too. We're gonna find out about legendary YouTubers who passed away. This is gonna be sad. Shout out to these guys. Let's learn about him.
Technoblade.
All right, Technoblade. We're starting off with Technoblade. I didn't even know he looked like this. Did y'all know he looked like this? I only saw his Minecraft character before, so let's learn about what happened to him. Man, this is gonna be sad, man.
Technoblade was not just a YouTuber. He was a true Minecraft legend.
Really?
Alexander launched his YouTube channel, Technoblade, in 2013 at the young age of 14.
Bro, he started at 14 years old. That's pretty much the age I started, bro. I'm pretty sure he died like a few years ago. I'm not sure what happened. I think he had cancer or something, but man, this is just real sad. But let's learn about him because I never watched him. I bet you guys definitely watched him, but I didn't, so I want to learn about this.
He quickly became famous for his character, Crowned Pig, and humorous gameplay on Hypixel and Dream SMP. That earned him over 10 million subscribers at that time, making him one of the most influential gaming YouTubers of his generation.
So he was like one of the biggest Minecraft YouTubers?
His iconic catchphrase, Technoblade never dies, became more than a meme. It was a testament to his skill.
Wait, he started the thing named Technoblade, like he started the saying Technoblade never dies? That is crazy to think about how he would always say Technoblade never dies in his videos and then he just... Wow, bro.
This was most famously proven when Mr. Beast orchestrated the ultimate $100,000 duel, challenging Technoblade versus Dream. In a battle of titans, Technoblade emerged victorious,
he beat
solidifying
Dream.
His reputation as the undisputed king of combat.
So he was the king of Minecraft fighting, and then apparently in June 2021, that's when it started to go.
However, in June of 2021, the king suddenly disappeared from the internet, leaving the fans worried. The silence was broken in August with a video explaining his absence. Alex revealed that what he initially thought was repetitive strain injury from gaming was actually a painful lump in his right arm.
Oh, he had a tumor in his arm. He thought it was from gaming because, like, when you're playing Minecraft, bro, you be moving that mouse like you be clicking so fast and stuff. But, like, dang, bro.
Diagnosis was a rare and malignant sarcoma.
What is that?
The progression of the disease was rapid and brutal. By the time it was found, the cancer had already spread to his lungs and bones. Yet, he confronted his mortality with his signature humor, often joking about his condition to comfort his worried fan base rather than asking for pity.
Wow.
Despite aggressive chemotherapy, the cancer attacked his central nervous system, and his body eventually gave out.
Man.
June 30th, 2022, surrounded by his family, he passed away.
Rest in peace to Technoblade, bro.
The announcement of his death came with the final video titled "So Long, Nerds."
Bro, he titled his final video, "So Long, Nerds." See, this is cool. That's why I like Technoblade, bro, because he, even though he was going through something that a lot of people can't really go through, he was just like chill about it. He was just cool.
In this heartbreaking upload, which has since amassed over 122
Wow.
million views, his father read Alex's final words. While Alexander is gone, his impact on the community is permanent.
Man,
For his
rest in
millions of
peace.
fans, Technoblade
Rest in
never
peace to
dies.
Technoblade, bro. Let's go to the next
Cooking
one.
with Linja.
Cooking with Linja, bro. This is an old lady who had a cooking channel. No! Why did she die? Oh, man, I can already tell she's a nice girl. Just look at her.
Lynn Yamada Davis, widely known as Cooking with Linja, was a popular American YouTuber and cooking content creator.
Man.
Her YouTube channel, Cooking with Linja, gained 14 million
14?
followers across YouTube, where she was known for short-form cooking videos, fast edits, and humor. In 2019, Lynn publicly revealed that she had been diagnosed with throat cancer,
Oh.
which caused her voice to change. In 2021, she announced that she had been diagnosed with esophageal cancer.
Oh.
Despite undergoing treatment, including surgery and chemotherapy, she continued creating content and regularly appeared in videos alongside her son.
Really,
Tim.
bro? She would make videos even though she had throat cancer, so her voice was different? That'd be insane. That's like me making videos and then my voice just changes so much and you guys know I have cancer. Like, that would be sad, bro.
Throughout 2023, Lynn's health gradually declined.
Dang, bro. So she
While
just
she
kept
appeared less
making
frequently
videos?
on her camera, her family continued to share her condition to connect with her audience. On New Year's Day 2024, Lynn passed away peacefully as the cancer returned.
Oh, man.
Surrounded by her loved ones, on January 9th, her family held a small funeral attended by close friends and family members.
Rest in peace, bro. All right, here's the
Angry
next
Grandpa.
one. Angry Grandpa, bro. I used to watch some of his stuff back in the day. I forgot that he died. He used to be so mad. Like, they would take him to, like, McDonald's or something. He'd be like, I don't want McDonald's. Like, this guy was the angriest grandpa ever, but I know he was so awesome, though. Ah,
Charles
man.
Marvin Green Jr., widely known as Angry Grandpa, was a pioneer of the react and reality comedy genres on YouTube. With over 4.7 million.
Dude, see, 4 million subscribers doesn't seem like a lot compared to the other people, but this was back when YouTube didn't even have that many people. 4 million subscribers was like insane. Like now, if you have 10 million, it's like pretty good. But back then, if you had 4 million, it was like, if you had 1 million like 5 years ago, it was like, oh my God.
In subscribers, he became an internet sensation not just for his signature angry sketches, but for his heartwarming redemptive arc of his life. His son, Michael Green, kid behind a camera, documented their journey from poverty to success, famously filming the moment he used YouTube earnings to buy his father a house and his dream 1955 Chevy Bel Air.
That's nice.
For years, he suffered from type 2 diabetes and cellulitis, conditions that had already significantly weakened his immune system. Throughout his battle, the Green family maintained using vlogs to keep the community informed. Fans watched as the once boisterous patriarch grew frail, yet he continued to film messages of gratitude from his bed.
Yeah, that's the sad part. Like, this guy, he was like the angriest grandpa. He would be screaming like, and then eventually over time he stopped screaming as much, he stopped moving as much, and people could tell that something was up. People could tell that he was getting older, and it was just sad because he used to be so and then he just couldn't do it anymore.
In late 2017, Green's body began to shut down once more. He suffered from reoccurring infections and systematic inflammation that his organs could no longer filter. On December 10th, 2017, Charles Green passed away at his home in Somerville, South Carolina at the age of 67. His son, Michael, announced the news in a tearful video titled R.I.P. Angry Grandpa, which became one of the most watched tributes in YouTube history.
Wow.
Comicstorian.
Okay, who's this guy? This guy looks young, bro. Everybody so far has been like old, except for Technoblade. He was young. Who's this guy? He looks healthy, bro. What happened? What?
Ben Potter was the mastermind behind Comicstorian, a YouTube powerhouse with over 3.1 million subscribers and a staggering 1.1 billion total views.
Okay.
He converted thousands of comic intros, audio dramas, with more than 4,000 videos produced. Ben Potter helped global audiences get closer to massive publishers like Marvel and DC. On the morning of June 8th, 2024,
This was recent.
Ben Potter was driving his Toyota 4Runner southbound on Interstate 25.
No, not a crap. All three of the last people have been like natural causes. Not really natural, but like cancer and then like getting older. This is a car.
At approximately 9:19 a.m.,
9 in the morning?
his vehicle suddenly veered off the right side of the highway. The SUV traveled across the frontage road and overturned multiple times before finally coming to rest on its roof.
Oh my gosh.
Emergency responders arrived shortly after. Although Ben Potter was wearing his seatbelt and the vehicle's safety system deployed, Ben Potter died at the scene. He was 40 years old. To this day, the cause of his accident remains a mystery.
Really?
Following his death,
They don't know what happened to him? He was just driving and then he veered off the road and then he just,
wife Nathalie and the Comicstorian production team announced their decision to continue operating the channel. They stated that maintaining Comicstorian was a way to honor Ben Potter's passion for comics and the years he dedicated to building the channel.
Wow.
Total Biscuit.
Okay, Total Biscuit. Who's this? I feel like I've heard of this guy. Maybe back in the day, I used to watch him. I don't know. I didn't know he died.
John Bain, widely known online as Total Biscuit, was one of the most influential voices in PC game criticism. As the cynical Brit, his consumer-first approach had over 2.2 million subscribers between 2010 and 2017.
Yeah, that's a lot of subscribers back then. In 2017, if you had 2 million subscribers, you were like one of the top.
In April of 2014, Bain announced to his followers on Twitter that a precarious mass had been found in his bowel. During earlier treatment, he remained defiant, continuing his rigorous podcasting and video schedule while undergoing aggressive chemotherapy and radiation.
Wow.
In February of 2015, the primary tumor was surgically removed. By October of that year, Bain revealed a grim update. The cancer had metastasized to his liver and was deemed inoperable. He responded to his fans with a characteristic bluntness, vowing to outlive the prognosis. By late 2017, Bain's health deteriorated rapidly as the cancer continued to metastasize, leading to organ failure. On May 24, 2018, he passed away peacefully at his home, surrounded by loved ones. His death triggered a massive global reaction. Blizzard Entertainment immortalized him as
Man, rest in peace to Total Biscuit, bro.
Ed Gould.
Ed Gould? This guy looks... Bro, what is going on, bro? Hopefully it wasn't no cancer or nothing, because it keeps happening.
Ed Gould was the British animator and
now, I don't want it to be a car crash, but I'm just saying, like...
creator of Ed's World.
I'm tired of hearing about
YouTube
this
animation series that later surpassed...
This is why we need to eat better food. We need to go outside. We need to stop putting these chemicals on our skin. We need to stop... Like, we need to become healthier again. We need to become more natural, because these cancer is not natural until you put all this nasty stuff in and on your body, bro. And move around, bro. Y'all need to walk. Stop sitting on your butt all day.
4.47 million subscribers. In 2006, at just 17 years old, Ed Gould was diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia.
Oh my
fast-growing
God.
Cancer.
What's wrong with these YouTubers getting cancer, bro? I don't even want to hear about this, bro. Shout out to Ed Gould, but I don't even want to hear about how he got, like,
ice swimming incident.
Oh my God, I know about this. The ice swimming incident. Oh my gosh, this is insane. Of course he saved this for the end of the video. Oh man.
This stands among the most haunting and heartbreaking deaths ever witnessed in YouTube history.
For sure.
Tor Eckhoff, born in 1964 in Sandefjord, Norway, was the creator behind the channel Apator, known for his daring and humorous ice swimming videos that earned him over 1.2 million subscribers.
I remember
on YouTube.
this.
His content was dangerous and funny, diving into freezing lakes,
Yep.
skating over thin ice.
I think I reacted to something like this before, but yeah, his channel was basically him jumping into freezing cold water and he wouldn't even care. It was like an old guy, an old Russian guy. Like he just had like, you know, balls, dude. He just didn't care about anything. Nothing scared him. And then I think one day he just...
Despite the risk, his fans adored his authenticity and fearless spirit. On November 26,
That's a day after my birthday, bro.
2021, at Jacobs Dam, a frozen lake west of Kongsberg, alone on the ice, Tor fell through a hole he had cut for his video. The shock of the icy plunge was immediate. His breath shortened as he tried to pull himself out. A passerby heard faint cries for help and alerted emergency services. Divers quickly arrived, pulled him from the icy water, and performed CPR before airlifting him to Yalevel University Hospital. Despite hours of resuscitation attempts, Tor passed away on November 27th due to severe hypothermia and secondary drowning.
The thing about that is, like, he had cut out a hole in the ice because he was going to make a video. He had his camera all set up, ready to make a video, and he accidentally slipped in it. He wasn't ready, and he died, bro.
Police confirmed there was no foul play and that he had been alone during the time of the accident. His final video, I Am Not Dead, I Am 57 Today.
That's the creepy part. His final video he ever uploaded is titled, I'm Not Dead.
Uploaded just 5 days before his death, becoming a haunting farewell. Fans flooded the comments with tributes from around the world.
He literally posted a video 5 days before he died, and he said, I'm not dead, guys, because people were asking, where have you gone? Are you dead yet? Bro, oh my gosh. Rest in peace to all these YouTubers.
What's up, dummies? Today we're about to react to some YouTubers who went missing. I made a video like this, I think it was like 2 weeks ago. It was really, really awesome to see all of these YouTubers that went missing. I guess awesome was the wrong word. It was actually kind of sad. But today, we're gonna find out about some more YouTubers who literally went missing and never made it home. Let's react to this. Try not to get scared, try not to pee in your pants or poop. Let's go.
Storm de Buell was a 22-year-old Belgian YouTuber known for sharing his adventures across Northern Europe.
Okay.
He never spoke in any of his videos and instead used the ambient sounds of nature to make his viewers feel like they were right there with him.
That's kind of cool. So he was a nature YouTuber who would record videos outside, but he never talked. He just like hung out with you. That's cool. So this is what one of his videos sounds like.
And while he started uploading videos in August of 2024, he'd actually been solo camping ever since he was just 19 years old.
It's water, by the way.
At one point, he even biked over 3,700 miles or over 6,000 kilometers across Sweden all on his own.
He did that all by himself.
So he had plenty of experience surviving in the wilderness alone.
He's even cooking on a fire. Dude, this guy's a beast, bro. I want to be his friend.
However, when nature turns unpredictable, even the most prepared adventurers find themselves struggling to survive.
Oh, God.
Tragically, that's exactly what happened with Storm on the night of October 29th, 2024. He was recording another video, this time traveling through the Jokkmokk region located in the Swedish Lapland, known for its beautiful snowy vistas and frequent aurora sightings. Now, Storm usually parked his car in a nearby town and then ventured into the wilderness on foot with his camping gear. These trips often lasted multiple days, sometimes even a whole week before he made it back. October 29th was the last day of one of these trips. He was making his way back and was only a day's walk away from his car, but it was quickly getting dark and continuing to walk would have been extremely dangerous. So Storm made the decision to set up his tent and sleep for the night.
Oh God.
A cold breeze was already sweeping through the region, prompting Storm to mound snow around his tent as a makeshift barrier before going to sleep. Unfortunately, nothing could have prepared him for the extreme weather he was about to encounter.
Oh, no.
Because just a few hours after setting his tent, the Jokkmokk region got hit by an intense blizzard with winds reaching up to 75 miles per hour or around 120 kilometers per hour. Snow quickly started piling up all around his tent as well. But worst of all, the temperature not only fell below freezing to 21 Fahrenheit or -6 Celsius, the strong wind made it feel as cold as 0 Fahrenheit or -18 Celsius. Maybe he realized the gravity of his situation at this point and wanted to contact his loved ones. Because at around midnight, his friend received a video of him showing his tent getting torn apart by the terrifyingly strong wind, with him stating, "Tonight it's going to get worse, Jesus Christ." He also called his grandmother right after and reassured her of his safety, stating, "It's snowing heavily here, but don't worry, I'll survive, you know." Then, at 2:36 a.m., the Swedish authorities received an SOS call from Storm. He reported multiple injuries, including a broken nose, and requested immediate help. Unfortunately, the strong wind made it impossible to reach him with a helicopter, and the snow obstructed any rescue efforts on the ground. The blizzard eventually subsided at around 10 a.m., and the rescuers rushed to Storm's last known location. Sadly, by the time they found him, it was already too late. The lower half of his body had turned purple due to the extreme cold, and even the blood on his face from the broken nose was frozen solid.
Oh my God.
Oddly enough, he was found roughly 1.6 miles or 2.6 kilometers away from his collapsed tent.
What?
It's unclear if he was forced to ditch the tent after it collapsed or if he set out before that happened.
That is weird. He was found 1.5 miles away from his tent. So maybe he realized like, oh my God, this blizzard's insane. I need to run. Like I need to try to make it somewhere else. But maybe his tent got flown away. Oh my God.
In either case, he was walking towards his car when he likely fell, broke his nose, and then contacted the authorities. The only silver lining in Storm's tragic end is that at least he died doing what he loved. As he told his father when he first started going on these solo camping trips, "Dad, it took me a long time to know what I wanted, but that's what I want."
So at least he enjoyed doing that stuff, but damn, nature is crazy. Weather will just come out of nowhere and just make sure you don't mess around with nature.
Hannah Rose Moody was a 31-year-old YouTuber and influencer from Scottsdale, Arizona. And while most of her content on YouTube revolved around her faith as a Christian, her Instagram account posted mostly different content. There, she made regular posts about her hiking adventures across the rocky desert terrain of Arizona. Hitting the trails several times a week had become a natural part of her routine ever since
so this girl loves to go hiking. I've literally been hiking in Scottsdale, Arizona too. I've probably been on some of these hikes before.
moved
Let's
to
see what
Arizona
happened to
6
her,
months
bro.
earlier. And May 21st was supposed to be no different. She got up early and quickly drove to the Gateway Trailhead located in the McDowell Sonoran Preserve. She parked her car and began the roughly 4.5 mile or 7-kilometer hike across the loop trail. It was a moderately challenging trail with a rocky path and noticeable elevation changes, but nothing Hannah hadn't tackled before. She felt fairly confident she could finish the hike in under 3 hours and even made plans to hang out with friends at lunch. Unfortunately, what started as just another ordinary hike ended with a devastating tragedy. Her friends were the first to sense something was wrong when Hannah didn't show up for lunch on time. She didn't send any messages about running late and wasn't picking up her phone either. It wasn't like her to ghost people out of nowhere. So, after waiting at the restaurant for many hours, her friends decided to check on Hannah at her home at around 7:50 p.m., hoping she was simply resting after a tough hike. But when they arrived at her house, her car was missing from the driveway, the lights were off, and the door was locked. Seeing this, they immediately contacted the authorities. They found her car still parked at the trailhead, and it wasn't long before the search party was looking for Hannah across the Gateway Loop Trail with helicopters, drones, and canines. The search was eventually called off at 11:30 p.m. due to the darkness, and resumed the next morning with even more people partaking in the search. This went on till about 12:05 p.m. when a helicopter pilot made the heartbreaking discovery Hannah's friends and family were dreading all night. Just 600 yards off the trail, rescuers discovered the remains of Hannah Moody lying face down on the desert ground.
What happened?
Hannah was dead, and likely had been for several hours. However, there was nothing that could explain her end right away. There were no signs of foul play, no intoxicating substances were found in her system, and she didn't even have any serious head injuries from a fall or stumble. With that, the only explanation investigators were able to come up with was that Hannah lost her life due to extreme heat. You see, the temperature in the Gateway Trail region soared to over 102 Fahrenheit, or about 39 Celsius the day prior when Hannah was hiking. She likely suffered from a heat stroke and wandered off the designated path in confusion before collapsing and eventually passing away, leaving her YouTube and Instagram videos as an unintentional final goodbye to her loved ones.
What the? Damn. See, nature does not mess around, bro. Back-to-back cases of people just dying outside.
Finn Creaney was a 33-year-old survival expert from the Pitt County area in Scotland.
What?
Utilizing the skills he had, Finn operated a survival school in the area called Wildcat Bushcraft, teaching kids general wilderness survival skills as well as bushcraft. Which, for those who don't know, includes things like foraging, hunting, and building shelter out of natural materials. The business was also accompanied by a YouTube channel of the same name, where Finn shared his knowledge and experience with the world for free. His content was both informative and entertaining, allowing him to slowly build a small but loyal audience. What these viewers didn't realize, however, was that one day, this very channel would also play a role in Finn's tragic end. Things went south on the 25th of March 2022 when Finn was dropped off at the B873 road near Loch Naver in Sutherland. His goal was to head south and hike the 45-mile distance to the small village of Golspie.
Hike 45 miles? Did that just say 16 hours?
South and hike
16-hour walk? Of course you're gonna die. I mean, come on.
45-mile distance to the small village of Golspie and make a video about the bushcrafting skills he had used along the way. Now, his family knew the journey would take more than a day, so they weren't too concerned when he didn't reach his destination right away. But then 3 days passed, and there was no sign of Finn anywhere.
Oh gosh.
Even more concerning was the fact that he didn't make any contact throughout this time, with every call from his family going straight to voicemail.
Yeah,
so on day 3, Finn's father called the police and filed a missing person report, all while holding on to the hope that his son was simply lost, had broken his phone, or was just taking his time on the hike. Sadly, that couldn't have been further from the truth. In reality, Finn had somehow vanished from the area without a trace. And despite the police spending months searching the area surrounding Loch Naver, they couldn't find a single clue about his current whereabouts.
They couldn't find him?
Finn was even featured on a British unsolved mystery-style show about missing people called Vanished, but that also led nowhere. However, even after a year of fruitless searching, his father Mark didn't give up and kept looking for his son on his own. And after 19 months of following this same routine, he finally found the first real clue, Finn's backpack, partially hidden in the bushes along the bank of Loch Naver. While Mark never disclosed
19 months later? That's like 2 years!
Exactly what was inside, it gave him and the rest of Finn's family reason to believe that Finn had tried to take a shortcut across the loch and ended up drowning by accident. So, after searching for his body for a few more months, they made the tough decision to stop searching and accept the fact that Finn was truly gone. That said, many on the internet find it hard to believe that Finn actually tried to swim across the Naver and lost control in the process. Many asked why a professional survivalist would make such a rookie mistake, especially when he still had a multiple miles long journey ahead of him, even if he had somehow made it across the Loch Naver. This doubt has given rise to many alternative theories that attempt to explain his mysterious disappearance. These range from fairly out there speculations like Finn doing this to fake his own death and build a new life, to some truly chilling hypotheticals like Finn going into the loch on purpose to end it all. Unfortunately, there just isn't enough evidence to confirm or deny any of these theories.
Been found?
What exactly happened to Finn remains a mystery to this day.
What? Somebody could have killed him.
Andrew Cross was a 36-year-old outdoor YouTuber from Grand Junction, Colorado. His channel, Desert Drifter, featured content that could only be described as archaeology mixed with exploration. He visited and made videos about any place he found interesting, from thousands years old stone walls to abandoned German spy caves from World War II. Beyond just being educational, his videos also boasted top-tier production quality, helping Andrew amass a massive audience in just 14 months on YouTube. Most importantly, his viewers loved his content and eagerly waited for the next upload.
Dude, that's dangerous. Look at that.
Then Andrew suddenly stopped posting after his upload in January 2025. Some assumed he was simply taking a break, while others figured the delay was due to his next video taking longer to produce. It wasn't until the 2nd of February that viewers received the truth from Andrew's wife, Evelyn, and it was far worse than any of his fans could have imagined. Andrew had gotten into a horrible car accident. He was waiting at a stoplight on the intersection between 1st Street and North Avenue in Grand Junction while on his way back from shooting a video about the Bears Ears National Monument in Utah on January 31st, 2025. When, out of nowhere, an out-of-control car rear-ended Andrew at an extremely high speed, resulting in his car flipping over and causing severe brain damage. He was rushed to a nearby hospital almost immediately. Unfortunately, it was already too late. He spent over a month in the ICU and was put on life support. During this time, it became abundantly clear that Andrew sadly had no chance of recovering from his injuries. So, on March 4th at around 10:50 a.m., his family made the difficult decision to let him rest and remove the life support system, keeping him on the edge of life. This was devastating news for his hundreds of thousands of fans who were...
Bro, this guy had 500,000 subs. He would go exploring, like a million views. And then one day he was just driving home and he got hit by a car fast as hell. Oh my God.
Blissfully looking forward to his next upload not too long ago. These fans also banded together and raised over $544,000 for Andrew's family in their time of need.
What?
As for the person responsible for the crash, named Ragnar Nicholas Crystal, he was arrested 20 days later on February 21st and was later charged with vehicular homicide and driving under the influence.
Good. Oh my God, of course he was like drunk, dude. Rest in peace to all these people, bro. This is insane. What's up, dummies? We're about to react to one of the craziest videos I think I'll ever react to. It says the worst serial killers who are still on the loose. It's gonna show us 6 different serial killers. Look at this. Who is this guy? The duder? The duty poopy doodler? Oh, it says doodler. I'm tripping. This guy's on the loose. He's a serial killer. We're gonna find out about people who are literally on the loose. If you've seen these people before.
Pedro Lopez.
Pedro
Alonso Lopez, a tall man with a peculiar appearance, a large nose, no upper front teeth, and
What's wrong with a big nose? Wait, no upper front teeth? Who the hell has no top teeth but bottom teeth? What if you were like in Walmart and you saw someone that was just like, what's up, dog? Like oh my God, that'd be horrible.
Was born in Colombia during a scary time full of fighting between political groups that people called La Violencia, or the violence. His father got killed in a surprise attack just months before the birth while trying to protect a nearby place. So his mother had to raise Pedro and his many brothers and sisters all by herself.
Okay, so this guy grew up without a dad. That's why he probably became a serial killer. But let's see how he's still on the loose. That's the main reason I want to see this video. These people are still on the loose. They haven't even been found. This is so creepy, dude. I love unsolved mysteries and stuff like this.
He said she forced him out of the house when he was only 8 after she caught him touching his sister.
What the oh my God. Okay. When I first heard that, I was like, why did his mom force him to leave at 8 years old? That's like so early. Oh, he was messing around.
Walking the streets alone. And during that tough time, he was used many times, started doing drugs, and had problems with the law when police caught him stealing a car, which led to him doing 7 years in prison only 2 days after arriving there. 4 other prisoners are him, but he kept quiet about it and instead built a knife from random scraps to kill 3 of them over the following 2 weeks, which prison leaders viewed as self-defense to protect.
So this guy got, like, his dad died when he was young, and then he was 8 years old and he got sent out, then he went to jail.
Protect his life, though they still added 2 extra years to his time. When he finally left prison, he began traveling across South America, and that's when he started his murders. He picked young girls as targets, killing them slowly, sometimes taking up to 15 minutes. Then, in Peru, local native people caught him attempting to kidnap a 9-year-old girl from her village, so they beat him severely, removed his clothes, and buried him in sand up to his neck.
Why didn't you just, like, eliminate him?
Pretending a slow death and even pouring syrup on him for ants to devour. But
pouring maple syrup on his head, bro? If someone did that to me, I'd be like, I love syrup.
An American missionary who spread religious teachings convinced them to hand him to police instead, and the authorities simply sent him out of the country to Ecuador without any charges.
What? He's just gonna keep, bro, he's murdered people. And
in Ecuador, he continued killing, and police noticed many girls disappearing, but assumed it involved human trafficking rather than murders. In 1980, though, he tried to take another child, but market leader Carolina Roman pursued and seized him, shouting that he sold kids while the crowd beat him and delivered him to police, who released him shortly after. April brought massive floods near Ambato that uncovered 4 strangled girls' bodies, pushing police to investigate seriously once more. And just 3 days later, Pedro approached a 12-year-old, but she informed her mother, which was incredibly Carolina Roman. She yelled, clutched him, and had merchants detain him until police arrived for a permanent arrest. He stayed silent initially under questioning, yet after weeks in a cell with an undercover officer acting as a fellow inmate, he confessed to over 100 killings in Ecuador alone, plus others in Colombia and Peru for a claimed total exceeding 300. He explained how he occasionally unearthed bodies for imaginary tea parties and stated his motive stemmed from losing his childhood innocence early, so he aimed to strip it from girls too. Police doubted him until he guided them to graves, revealing 53 bodies of girls aged 8 to 13 in a forest area. An Ambato court convicted him of 57 murders, imposing 16 years as Ecuador's maximum. Then,
bro, 16 years in prison for 57 murders?
he faced knife attacks from inmates, prompting extra guard protection, and despite pushes to extend his stay, good behavior earned him an early release in 1994.
What? What? Why? Okay, I'm never stepping foot in Ecuador. I'm never stepping foot in whatever the hell country. He got out of prison? You have to eliminate
He
this
labeled himself the man of the century in a chat, and police transported him secretly at night to Colombia's border, as they feared vigilantes, because victim families offered bounties up to $25,000 for his death. Upon arriving in Colombia without an initial warrant, they placed him under watch in a hotel. Later, a new warrant was issued for another murder, and while he was being transported by van, about 2,000 furious people ambushed the vehicle, forcing the authorities to detour to Bogota for safety. Examining doctors noted personality problems, but not enough mental illness for therapy, and by 1998, once deemed sane, he gained release on low bail of about
So how is he still on the loose? Did he end up escaping?
about $70 if he reported regularly and saw a therapist, but he fled immediately. From then, we just have unverified sightings in Ecuador, including a visit to his poor mother for cash that she refused, leading him to steal and sell her mattress and chair before vanishing.
Bro, he got out of prison, then he went to his mom's house and he was like, can I get some money? Even though he's like killed 300 people. And then he stole his mom's mattress and her chair and sold it.
The police issued warrants in 2002 for a new murder case that seemed similar to earlier ones, and they also investigated possible links in 2012, but none of those leads went anywhere.
So we don't know what happened to this guy? This is him? This is Pedro Lopez? Hold on. We still have like 4 more crazy cases, but dude, I gotta see what happened to him. Yeah, so this is him, Pedro Alonso Lopez. Look at this picture of him. This is the guy. These are some of his victims. Oh my gosh, bro. This guy is a weirdo, dog. And he's still on the loose? He was officially convicted of 110 different murders, but he claimed to have killed over 300, but they haven't been found. So he has been found. Like, they found 110 little girls. A bunch of rumors claim that he's living in Tolima Department, Colombia, as a homeless man in Bogota, or even that he was murdered after some of his relatives put a bounty on his head. What? So they don't know where this creepy guy is who's killed 300. This is a picture of him praying to God once he got released from prison in 1994. Dude, what? Wow. All right, let's see what else, what crazy other people who are still on the loose.
The Freeway Phantom.
All right, the Freeway
On an ordinary
Phantom.
evening, a 13-year-old girl left her home in southeast Washington, D.C.
Oh, don't tell me it's gonna be another person who's killing little girls. What is it with little, bro? I love little girls, bro.
To buy groceries. She never came back. 6 days later, her body was found without shoes on a grassy hill.
Bro, this little girl went to go get groceries and she never came back. And then she was found without her shoes.
Beside I-295, behind St. Elizabeth's Hospital. She had been sexually assaulted and killed. No one knew it yet, but Carol was the first victim of a man who would soon be known as the Freeway Phantom. A few months later, a 16-year-old disappeared while walking to her summer job. Witnesses saw her getting into an old black car with a man driving, but no one got the license plate number. 11 days later, her body was found only 15 feet from where the first girl's body had been discovered.
Put a camera up or something, dude.
The killer had chosen almost the same spot, as if to taunt investigators. Again, she was fully dressed but missing her shoes. Then came 10-year-old...
Bro, the people are fully dressed when they're found. These girls are found fully dressed, but they don't have shoes on. What's wrong with this guy? Is he selling their shoes? Is he weird with feet? Come on.
Brenda
dude.
Faye Crockett. She went to the store and never came home. And that night, her family received 2 terrifying phone calls. Brenda was crying and saying a man had picked her up and that she was in a cab heading home. Then, in the second call, she asked, "Did my mother see me?" and said she was alone in a house with that white man. During that call, heavy footsteps could be heard in the background. Then she said, "I'll see you," and hung up. Hours later, a hitchhiker found her body. Police believe the phone calls were staged and that Brenda had been forced by her killer to make them in order to confuse investigators. Then, after yet another murder, the press gave the killer his name, the Freeway Phantom. The next victim was different in some ways, though 18-year-old Brenda Denise Woodard had dinner with a friend and caught a bus home around 11:30 p.m. The next morning, her body was found near the Baltimore-Washington Parkway.
Wait, so this is a random guy that goes by the name of the Freeway Phantom who has murdered multiple girls. And don't tell me he's still on the loose. I'm gonna kill it. I'm gonna
stabbed and strangled, but this time she was still wearing her shoes, and inside her coat pocket was a note. It was written on a piece of paper torn from her school notebook. It said, "This is tantamount to my insensitivity to people, especially women. I will admit the others when you catch me if you can. Freeway Phantom." The word tantamount caught detectives' attention, as it was formal and not a word most people used. After this, almost a year passed, and then yet another victim was killed. Then, out of nowhere, the murders just stopped. The investigation pulled in every major law enforcement agency, DC Police, Maryland Police, and even the FBI. But it soon became one of the most frustrating unsolved
they can't find him? There's gotta be a way to find him, bro. Y'all suck.
cases. Files went missing, evidence was mishandled, and every promising lead fell apart.
Files went missing? Yo, somebody is on the inside.
Detectives interviewed hundreds of suspects, and one inmate even claimed to know who had committed one of the Freeway Phantom murders, and shared details only the killer would know under the agreement of remaining unidentified. But when a politician told the story to the press, the inmate shut down and refused to talk again. Years later, suspicion fell on a man named Robert Elwood Askins, who had a long and disturbing past. He poisoned prostitutes with whiskey laced with cyanide, killing one, and days later stabbed another woman to death. He was declared insane and sent to St. Elizabeth's Hospital, the same hospital near where the first victim had been found. After his release, he murdered again and was later convicted of more assaults. Also, when police searched his home, they found court papers in which a judge had used the word tantamount, the same unusual word from the killer's note. Co-workers also said Askins liked to use that word often. But even with all that, no physical evidence linked
I think that's evidence. Who says tantamount?
him to the Freeway Phantom murders. Askins denied everything, saying he could never do such things, and he spent the rest of his life in prison for other crimes and died there in 2010. More than 50 years later, the Freeway Phantom case is still unsolved.
So we're never gonna know who the Freeway Phantom was.
A $150,000 reward still stands.
150K? Bro, I'm about to do some research.
And the case remains open. The
All right, let's
vending
see the
machine
next one.
killer.
Bro, what? The vending machine killer? Bro, I would kill somebody too if that was my options. What the hell? What would you even... I don't want any of that. What is that, UTI? Isn't that a urinary tract infection?
A man in the city of Fukuyama picked up what looked like a free
Bro, it's literally in China.
drink on top of a vending machine, an Vitamin C energy beverage, and took a few sips. A month later, he was dead. The drink...
What? I told y'all should not be drinking that.
had been poisoned with paraquat dichloride, a weed killer so strong that even a tiny amount can destroy a person's lungs, kidneys, and other organs within days. that one bottle began one of Japan's most frightening unsolved cases, the paraquat murders. At the time, paraquat was easy for anyone to buy, as people only had to say they needed it for their crops. As the months passed, more people fell ill after drinking from bottles found near vending machines. In total, 13...
Why are you drinking a bottle that you find next to a vending machine? Like, if I went up to a vending machine and I saw a pretty full, like, Pepsi, and I really wanted a Pepsi, I wouldn't be like, oh, there's a Pepsi right here, so I don't need to buy one. No, I would still buy my own Pepsi. I'm not touching somebody else's drink.
15 people died, and 35 others became seriously ill. The investigation was extremely difficult. There were no fingerprints, no witnesses, and no security camera footage showing who did it. Japan had more than 5 million vending machines at the time, and it was impossible to keep an eye on all of them. The victims had nothing in common either. They were men and women, old and young, from different areas. There was no ransom note, no letter, no clue, and no explanation. It seemed like the killer murdered simply for the sake of killing. The authorities started a nationwide safety campaign. For example, in Tokyo, people received leaflets warning them about what was happening. The police never found a strong lead. The Doodler. In San Francisco, a young man known only as the Doodler hunted gay bars and nightclubs across the city. He would sit at a table sketching portraits of men on napkins or scraps of paper, using the drawings to start conversations. Not long after, those same men would be found dead, stabbed multiple times, and left near the edge of the Pacific Ocean.
So this guy would go to like a nightclub or a bar and meet people, and he would draw them, and he'd be like, hey, I drew you. And he'd try to like be smooth, and then he'd kill them.
After multiple killings, investigators began to realize that the murderer was targeting gay men, and that the fear of police discrimination might be why the community was silent. Police eventually had a suspect, a young black man between 19 and 25 years old, tall and thin, who matched the descriptions of 3 men who had survived being attacked. Each of them had met the suspect in gay bars, and each said he had drawn their portraits before stabbing them. It looked like the case could finally be solved until all 3 survivors refused to testify in court.
Why?
The reason was that in the 1970s, being openly gay in San Francisco could destroy a person's career, reputation, or safety.
So these people who were like gay, I guess, they were too scared to like tell the judge what was wrong because they didn't want people to know they were gay.
One survivor was a well-known entertainer, and another was a foreign diplomat, and speaking out meant being publicly outed. Without witnesses willing to testify, prosecutors had no case. The suspect, believed to be the Doodler, was never charged, and his name was never made public. Then the killing stopped out of nowhere. Some believe the Doodler moved away. Others think he was arrested for another crime.
So he literally got away with it.
Or simply stopped killing as he grew older. In recent years, modern DNA testing has given the case new life, and the San Francisco Police Department reopened the investigation, offering a $100,000 reward and releasing an updated sketch showing what the Doodler might look like today.
That's the Doodler. More like the Diddler. What's up, dummies? This video says 4 unsolved disappearances with horrifying final phone calls. This is gonna be 4 people who literally disappeared, and we can hear their final phone call asking for help, begging for help. This is gonna be scary as hell. If you get scared easily, you better put some pull-ups on. Let's go. Try not to get scared. This is gonna be insane, bro.
The day is July 4th, 1999, America's Independence Day. The location, Irvine, Colorado. It's a nice day with a high of 90 degrees. One family wanted to take advantage of this, and so before they went off to go watch their fireworks later that night, they all decided to go swimming in a locally known swimming hole.
Oh God.
This is where the family would discover a pickup truck resting at the bottom of the muddy water.
Wait, what?
Not sure what to make of it, the family called the police.
Yo, imagine you go to like a pool, like do you have like a lake or a pond near you? Imagine you go there and you see a car in the middle of the lake. You're like, who the hell? Dude,
the sheriff's department would be the first to respond to this scene. The truck ended up belonging to a man named Dale Williams, someone who had officially been declared missing just 6 weeks prior.
Oh my God.
Dale owned an auto body shop and was working at the time of his disappearance. One of his friends who he had hired was working with him at the time and recalls exactly what happened that day.
Oh my God.
The two were sitting in the office when the phone to the auto body shop started ringing.
Okay.
Dale picked it up and began talking. Now, his friend couldn't hear everything that was said, but Dale would give him a short summary when he finished the call. The caller claimed to be stranded in what's known as Paradox Valley, which was north of Dale's shop. Their motorcycle had broken down on them, and they were requesting a tow, which Dale agreed to help out with. He then set out. This call would be the last call Dale would ever answer.
No way.
He never came home that night.
What?
His wife would call him multiple times, but to no avail. Dale had disappeared without a trace.
Dude, don't tell me Dale went to go help somebody and then he ends up like accidentally hitting the wrong turn or whatever, or his car just goes janky. Because, I mean, you saw the picture of that truck. That thing's busted as hell. That thing's old as hell. Maybe he was driving and he couldn't turn the wheel and he just went right into the freaking ocean.
He was officially declared missing that night, and over the next few days, a search consisting of hundreds of volunteers commenced. Though, not a single clue would result.
Wow.
This leads us back to 6 weeks later when Dale's trunk was found in the water by a local family swimming. It was determined that at the time the truck entered the water, the ignition was on, and at a very low crawl speed, the wheel was turned at a sharp angle towards the water. This discovery led a lot of people to believe the truck ending up in the water was not an accident. Over the years, multiple different theories have surfaced under this belief. For example, some believe he's living on an island somewhere.
What?
Others believe he faked his own death and ran off with some other woman.
Have they found his body?
But probably the theory with the most traction is someone wanted him dead, and that someone was the person who called his shop that day claiming to be a stranded motorist, ultimately luring Dale to his death. Interestingly, Dale had 2 daughters, and somewhat recently one of them took to Reddit under the sub r/askmeanything.
No way.
She gave the whole story, and comments started flooding in. One commenter asked her what she herself believes happened to her dad. She would simply reply, "I think he was murdered. Why or by who, I don't know."
Bro.
Some speculate the person responsible was a man that was one of Dale's ex-friends. 1 year before Dale had gone missing, him and his wife had helped move the man's ex-wife away from him out of state to safety without his knowledge.
Okay.
This clearly made the man angry, as a month after the move, he put torn up pictures of the 4 of them next to bullets all scattered on the ground of Dale's shop. So clearly a motive is there.
That his friend did it.
It turns out that after Dale's disappearance, he was even captured taking down missing posters of Dale around the town.
What?
He was brought in for questioning, but denied any involvement.
Bro, so Dale went missing and one of his old friends saw missing posters of Dale and he was taking them down because he didn't want people to help out. Bro, and then he also put torn up pictures of Dale in front of his shop and with a bunch of bullets.
He ended up passing a polygraph test and supposedly had an alibi around the time Dale went missing.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Thus,
right.
he would be ruled out by law enforcement.
Yeah, right, bro. It was him.
To this day, it's unknown where Dale is.
He hasn't
or
been
who called his
found?
shop the day of his disappearance.
Nobody's seen him in the water? Like floating? My God. All right, here's the next story, yo.
Back in 1991, a then 22-year-old named Angela Hammond was living in Clinton, Missouri. She was a student at Central Missouri State University, meanwhile also working at a bank. On April 4th, Angela and her fiancé, Rob Schaefer, had plans to go to a barbecue together.
Okay.
When it started wrapping up, Rob knew he had to get home because he was supposed to be watching his little brother until his mom got home.
Okay.
Angela dropped him off at his house, but the two still wanted to hang out. They decided that Angela would call him in a few hours to work out a spot where they could meet downtown. Meanwhile, Rob would watch his brother.
Okay.
Cut to a few hours later, and sure enough, Rob's phone started ringing. Now, again, this was 1991, so Angela was calling from a payphone rather than a cell phone. She was using one that was located in the center of town, only 7 blocks from Rob's house. The two started discussing where they wanted to meet up, but after a few minutes, Angela mentioned a truck she saw that had circled the block a few times in a row now.
Oh God.
Rob would later say that she described it as a green pickup with this really distinct decal of a fish jumping out of the water, covering the entire back window. Though, it wasn't until it parked right next to her that she became genuinely concerned.
A random car.
A man got out and briefly used the second payphone just next to her. He then walked back to his car and pulled out a flashlight as if he was looking for something. Rob listened as Angela asked the man if he needed to use the phone, assuming the one he had tried to use was broken. The man responded saying it was fine, and that he would try again in a minute. Rob and Angela continued their conversation, not thinking much about the encounter. But shortly after, the sound of Angela's screaming shot through the line. Without even thinking, Rob immediately dropped the phone and got in his car to drive the 7 blocks to the payphone.
Bro.
He made it about halfway when he noticed a pickup truck speed past him in the other direction.
Yup, turn around.
Not only that,
go.
But he also reported to have heard a panicked woman's voice screaming his name out of the window.
Oh yeah, go,
Rob
go, go,
threw
go.
his car in reverse and began chasing down the pickup. But what he didn't know at the time is that him throwing his car into reverse as fast as he did had severely damaged the transmission. 2 miles into the chase, and his car began to stall. Eventually, his car came to a complete stop.
Bro, what?
He watched as the truck's taillights faded into the distance.
Oh my god, imagine, bro, you have a girlfriend and she gets captured by this kidnapper dude, and then you're driving and you just pass him and you're like, oh snap. So you start chasing him, and then your car breaks down and he just keeps going farther and farther. Bro, you gotta get a better car, bro.
Authorities were almost immediately notified of the situation. Over the next few days, Missouri State Highway Patrol checked hundreds of registered trucks matching the
Please tell
description
me
Rob
she
gave
didn't
them,
die, bro.
but none of them were a match.
Please tell me she didn't
Unfortunately, blame would start to shift towards Rob himself.
What?
Police suspected he had made the whole story up, and in reality, he was responsible for Angela's disappearance.
Could be.
Though, in only a week, this lead would get thrown out. 2 witnesses in the area at the time had come out reporting to have seen a truck matching the description Rob gave.
Okay.
And in addition, Rob had also now passed a polygraph test.
So where?
Over the years, there have been many different unconfirmed sightings of Angela in different states. But whether these are real sightings or not is unknown.
She was never
As far as
found?
we know, that phone call Rob and Angela had on the night of her disappearance would be the last phone call she would ever make.
Bro, what? What? Dude, that's crazy. Imagine you have a girlfriend and you're like hanging out and you guys are having a great time, and then she takes you home or you take her home, and then, you know, she calls you and she's like, hey, like, let's hang out later. Like, you're so excited to hang out later. And then you hear her going, oh yeah, let's, she gets captured. You chase the guy who captured her, and then your car breaks down and you never see her again. Yo! Story number 3.
May 14, 2008. Brandon Swanson, a student at Minnesota West Community and Technical College, is out celebrating the end of spring semester with a few other students.
Okay, a little spring break.
Around 1 a.m., Brandon finally starts to head home, which was located in Marshall, Minnesota. He was currently in Canby, Minnesota, so it was about a 30-minute drive to his home.
Take that road right
At
there.
some point during this drive, Brandon mistakenly swerves into a ditch on the side of the road. He was unhurt and there was no damage to his car, but he couldn't move it. It was stuck.
Walk home,
he then
buddy.
gets out and manually attempts to free it by himself, but he can't. He calls some of his nearby friends, but none of them answer.
Bro, he called his friends and none of them answered. Bro, you were just with your friends. I'd be so pissed off if I was with my friends and then I got in a car crash and I called them 20 minutes later and they didn't answer. Bro, your friends gotta answer,
no other
bro.
option but to call his parents, and so he does. He explains his situation and tells them he's somewhere near the city of Lind. While staying on the line, his parents start driving there to pick him up.
Why would he be over there?
When they arrive, Brandon and his car were nowhere to be found. After a while, Brandon began flashing his headlights, and his parents started to do the same, but still they couldn't see each other.
What?
Brandon told them that he could see city lights off in the distance, and believing they were from the city of Lind, he told his parents that he would just walk there and meet them at a well-known bar in the area.
Okay, yeah, just
He
walk.
got
I
out
mean,
of
that's
his
what I
car
would have
and
done.
started walking on gravel roads towards the city.
I mean, dude, I dare somebody, like if I'm walking at night, I dare somebody to pull over and try to mess with me, bro. I have been waiting so long to punch, oh my god.
Though, Brandon would eventually decide to cut through a field, believing that it would be faster than just staying on the road.
Bro, why would you cut through a field?
Still on the phone with his parents, Brandon would note nearby fences and water while in the field.
So he's on the phone with his mom or on the phone with his dad or maybe on a group call or whatever, and he's calling him, trying to walk. He doesn't know where he is because this is back in 2008 where sometimes you didn't have GPS. So imagine that, bro. He can't just like go on Snapchat, Snap Maps and be like, oh, I'm right here, bro. Like Life 360. He didn't have none of that. He didn't know where he was. It was completely dark.
Then, at the 47-minute mark in the call, Brandon abruptly yelled out, "Oh, shit," before the line went completely silent. His parents called out to him several times, but there was no response.
He said, oh,
They
shit.
then ended the call and
then
repeatedly tried to call him back, but once again, there was no response.
He just ran. He was in the middle of a conversation and he said, oh, shit. And then he just went silent. Oh, shit. Silence. But the call didn't end. So maybe like he might have like fell into something or like his phone might have broken or something.
Brandon was never successfully contacted for the whole rest of that night.
What?
He would be officially declared missing early the next morning.
Wow.
Police got involved.
19 years old, 5'5", 120 pounds. Okay, yeah, he definitely could have got taken, bro. I was thinking, bro, you're like a grown man. Like, he looks like pretty tall. No, it's 5'5", 120. A strong guy, like 200-pound, 6-foot guy could just lift him up. So.
And oddly, when they tracked his phone calls, they were traced to a cell tower in a completely different location than what he told his parents.
Wait, he told his...
Brandon was over 25 miles away in a city named Porter when he called his parents.
Bro, I knew it, bro. He literally... Bro, okay, so he was in Canby, and he was going home to Marshall. He said he crashed along the way. Why would you be in Lind? He said he was in Lind down here. You would have had to went all the way over here. Of course you're not... Bro, this kid does not know his directions, bro.
With this information, police searched the new area. And sure enough, they found Brandon's car stuck in a ditch.
Okay, they found his car.
Brandon himself was nowhere to be found. Police dogs were brought in to assist in the search. The dogs traced a scent straight to a nearby river, the Yellow Medicine River, which was at its highest point during this time of the year. Immediately, it was assumed Brandon had fallen into the river, but the scent had actually continued on towards a different gravel road where it finally stopped. Still, many believe Brandon had fallen into the river and ultimately drowned.
That makes sense. Like, you're just walking in the dark, and they're like, oh shit, and then you fall off the thing, and then your phone hits the water, and then it goes quiet because it broke the phone. See, if the phone, I think he went in the water. Because the phone, like, okay, if you, like, fall off a cliff, your phone, like, you'll hear, like, ah! They would have heard it, but they literally heard, oh, shit, and then it ended. So maybe, oh, shit, fall in the water, phone goes in the water, completely ruins the microphone, silence.
Except, during the phone call with his parents, they would recall no sounds of rushing water around the time he went silent.
They didn't hear any
Plus,
water.
at no point was a body or even clothing found in the river, which almost surely would have surfaced.
Yeah?
There are countless other theories out there, mainly due to how popular this case has gotten. But what really happened, or what Brandon had seen during that final phone call, remains unknown.
Bro, what? Okay, I guess this video is unsolved disappearances. Bro, how are these people not being found, bro? I just want to go out there and just, like, try to find them, bro. I want to go to that city, like Lind, Minnesota, or wherever he went missing. I want to look at every single inch of the... Where could he, like, how are these people gone, bro? 2008? That's 17 years ago. Wait, did I just do math like that? I think I just did quick-ass math. Let's go. That's 17 years ago, bro. How has he not been spotted? Someone must have taken him or something, bro. All right, here's the next story. These are creepy, bro.
February 19, 1983. A 10-year-old, Joanne Pedersen, was spending the evening at a local mall with her 12-year-old sister and 14-year-old cousin.
7-year-old?
Her parents were out for the night, meaning the three would be left to walk the short distance home themselves. As they were doing so, Joanne and her sister would get into an argument. This led her sister and cousin to run ahead and lock Joanne out of the house as a sort of childish joke. But it was cold and raining that night.
Cold and raining.
Crying, Joanne pounded on the door for some time, but soon just gave up. She decided she'd walk back into town to look for a payphone that she could use to call her parents.
Bro, what is it with these payphones, bro? If you see if there's a 7-year-old girl in the dark at a payphone with no family around, there's gonna be a creepy guy that's gonna pull up, bro. There's people in this world that are nasty, bro.
She started walking and eventually came across the phone just next to a convenience store. Joanne called her stepfather, who answered right away. She would tell him about the altercation with her sister and how she needed to be picked up. Joanne's stepfather assured her they'd come get her as soon as possible. To calm her down, he then handed the phone to her mother. But when Joanne's mother put the phone to her ear, all she could hear was scratching and rustling.
Oh my God.
Then there was a man's voice. He told her that if they didn't come to pick up their daughter in 30 minutes, he was going to call the police. The two arrived to the payphone around 15 to 20 minutes later, yet Joanne was nowhere to be seen. Her parents contacted the police, and a search was commenced almost immediately.
Bro, what?
Everyone that entered that convenience store that night was interviewed. Some reported to have seen a car with a man and child driving off right past the store.
Yo.
Others reported to have actually seen the man talking on the payphone with Joanne, even giving a description of what he looked like.
Look at that.
Though he was never identified.
What?
Who this man actually was remains a mystery. But it's not even clear if he had any part in Joanne's disappearance. None of the witnesses interviewed actively saw Joanne being taken. Joanne has since never been seen.
Bro!
The call she placed that night would be the last time her parents or anyone ever heard from her.
This was in 1983. she could be dead. Like, okay, obviously she could be dead because she's missing. But I'm saying, like, my dad was born in like 1970 and he's like 50 something. So this girl's like 40 something years old. Oh my God, bruh. This is messed up, bro. We'll never know what happened to these people, bro. Oh my gosh.